Oh, okay. Hopefully we'll get people coming in now. I think I'm live. Let me just try and check. More. I think I'm live. Yeah. There's 2 in the chat. Comments. There we go. Good evening, Mike. Evening, Amanda. Everyone. Evening, Rooted. Yeah, Vagues. Do you want a link, mate? We'll do the link. We'll do a link. Like the way I gave you a link earlier on. Do you want a link, mate? He quit his own fucking live. He rage quit. Hilarious. Oh. Yeah, if any of you, Vincent was on the panel with me, but yeah, for some people who don't know what happened earlier on, he rage quit his own live. And I know he's ghosting in my chat now because he's on his he does. I know he's subbed to me and on my notifications because he appears in my chat normally early. So nice one, Henry. Yeah, okay. I'll send you a link now. Right. Let me do this then. 2 seconds, chat. Invite guests. Tap, tap, tap. Okay, and then we're gonna go YouTube. Okay. Yeah, I've sent that off, Vince. Oh, yeah, maybe it's terrible. The thing is, Vincent, who I've just sent the link to now, he he's a good debater. He knows how to debate people, and I can be all right on certain subjects. So yeah, he just couldn't win any of his points, and he just rage quit on his own stream. And he'd been kicking us. He'd been kicking me and Vincent all the way through the stream. He'd been playing propaganda videos with Owen Jones, and we had to sit through all that shit. He mostly kicked me. What's happening, Luke? How you doing, pal? I haven't seen Luke for a while. Top man. Yeah, he must have kicked me and Vincent about 15 times each, most probably more. So, yeah, funny. I don't know if anyone's keeping an eye on the elections tonight, the midterms, but that should be interesting later on. Yeah, not bad, Luke. Not bad. Just debating far leftists that complain that everyone's fascist for even bringing up a very, very understandable problem of illegal migration. And obviously, the daily bill just to house these people is now going on to £7 million a day, isn't it? Yeah, I've heard of the voting machine problems. To be fair, though, I don't trust those machines, so I don't know. I mean, I don't know the population of Brazil, but if Brazil can get all their elections counted in 24 hours, why does it take? I've sent the link, mate. Vincent, I've sent it, the last link. Let me just send it again then. Oh, there you are. Yeah. Add to stream. Well,
Yeah,
considering I only sent it to you, there's not a porn bomber it can be. What's up, Vin?
Yeah, good. Just as I was typing it came up, the little arrow. Am
Oh,
I really
shit.
loud? Because you're really loud for me.
I can't hear you.
You can't
let me
hear
check
me.
the audio.
I think I'm making a sound. My avatar is moving, so it must be you, Welshie.
Can anyone hear Vincent? Well, it doesn't matter, Vincent. I can't hear you, so you're gonna have to come out and come back in, I think, mate.
Welsh lad, can
I think so, mate.
It's on you. Can somebody in the chat tell him it's on Welsh?
I can't hear you
properly or something.
Can the chat hear Vincent? I can hear you both. Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's fucking crazy.
I'm going to stay here then, Welsh. I know you can't hear me, but
you're gonna have to come out and come back in, Vincent. Though, just come out and come back in. It only takes a couple of seconds. I'll keep an eye out for you. Well, that's funny, Chad, because I can't hear him. Mind you, I can hear myself. I can just hear myself talking. I don't know. Okay, let's try him again.
You got me? It's on you. And I know you can't hear me.
Vincent, talk to me.
Yeah, I am. I'm talking.
Wow.
Can you hear me?
Oh, God. I don't know what's going on here. Remove from stream, solo layout, mute, edit mic settings. Let's try edit mic settings. Your mic's fine. You're like on mute to me.
Yeah.
Talk to me. No, I can't hear you, mate. Oh.
Yeah, so I'm here. Welshie.
I don't know.
Get your shit
I can't hear him. I see your avatar moving, Vincent. Yeah, I see it moving, mate. I can't hear you. Let me take the mic out completely then. Let me take the head. Audio.
Give it a wiggle, Welshie.
Well, you're back. I can hear you.
Yay.
Okay. So it's much of you just loud. You're on loudspeaker. Can you hear me all right?
I can hear you perfectly. You know, a professional YouTuber like yourself should really have some professional kit going on. like a studio. You could build a mini studio for Trigger as well.
I am in the process of doing this, Vincent. I declare myself as a gonzo live streamer.
Get there in the end. Well, I think he's losing his edge, is my first comment, really, on old Crinkle. He used all of his same tactics early. He's muting us, then he's backstaging us, and then playing his usual left-wing communist bullshit propaganda. But tonight, he didn't even have the arguments. You know, he had all of his usual tools at his disposal, but he didn't have it when it counted in the chat. And I think he's losing it, man. I think he might be having a crisis. Get on here, Crinkle. I know you're listening, because I'm only here for about 10 minutes. So I've got to be up. I've got to be in High Wycombe at 9 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how many times he muted us, but I think he muted me 15 times.
Endlessly, just endlessly. It's so annoying. You know, I wouldn't consider myself a heavyweight in these circles. I've only got into these debate panels in the last 9 months, but I can control a panel, you know, just by it being slightly ordered. That's what Henry needs to do. Lets it go wild, and then he loses himself. It's embarrassing.
The worst thing, he'll make wide accusations, like he'll just say migration instead of illegal migration. He'll say anyone merely mentioning concerns about, say, migration, illegal migration, you'll turn around and say, well, that's just fascist. And,
Yeah.
that's right up the fascist league, and you're like, what are you on about? This is
Well,
a
there are
big thing.
arguments we've heard before, and there's nothing new in his argument tonight. So for us, it's quite easy. We've done it before, and you just get to add on to what you've done before. He's coming with the same old bullshit. Immigrants are a net positive to the country. Immigrants don't create crime any more than anyone else. We should treat them as equals, and I'm not being fucking xenophobic or superior or racist. There, we're totally different cultures, and we're now seeing world leaders, and also along with what's her name, Merkel, saying we are incompatible cultures. It's not my words, her words.
Well, 2017 or whatever, when Merkel said, come, or everyone come, when they were being interviewed, they were saying because Merkel said, come.
Yep.
Not because they were desperate and they were being persecuted, because Merkel said to come. And now even Merkel turns around and said it's failed.
Well, she lived to regret that, didn't she? A couple of years later, she said multiculturalism has failed, despite continuing with the programme heavily. I always tend to switch it around. When I hear these people's arguments about how we need to bring in the rest of the world, how we need to sort of keep up the numbers, to keep along with other countries, because obviously there are other countries with a heavier burden. But I don't think it quite goes like that, because you look at countries like India. Go buy a house in India right now, Welshie, and settle into the community. See how you get on. Go buy a house in Syria. Go buy a house in any of these countries. It just doesn't ring the other way.
Well, another thing a lot of these countries are finding is that the people will, like I mentioned, that like a Sri Lankan sort of dentistry woman, right? And then they'll bring British money back into that country, and we'll give, obviously that maybe their village, but I've seen programs where a British guy will be traveling in India, all around India, and they'll explain that all these real lavish buildings are all from people that have gone to Britain.
Yeah.
And they then built a huge family home. And it's not good to the community in a lot of ways, because it's them and us, sort of. It separates it out, and they're like super rich compared to the rest of the village that is
they are
poor.
Yeah, they become the royalty. I mean, I go to certain Central European countries, not Eastern European. You're not allowed to say that's racist. Central European country, just before the edge of Russia, and they build a house there for about £10,000. The construction level of construction is incredibly poor. Even in countries like Czech Republic, where my son is, and Slovakia, the level of construction for those properties is incredibly poor. And being somebody who works in that industry, I know they wouldn't get passed by a building regs inspector. So they build it for about £10,000. It's usually two level. The first level is 7 foot high, and the second level is 4 foot high, and 15 or 20 people live in the top. They all sleep in the top all together, like the Seven Dwarfs. And they do become the richest in the country, and they're doing it based on the benefits here. They're doing it on whatever money they'll make on the side as a scrappy or as a pickpocket or whatever profession they choose to do whilst they're here. They're doing it using that money. In 1 year, 2 years tops, they're making that money.
And then when you get people like Torb saying basically what's pretty obvious, and I would suggest is a valid concern throughout the country, which is like, I see the system being abused by a lot of people, by a high percentage of them, that they're abusing our benefit system. They're abusing our welcome, and he sees that, and he says that, and that's a perfectly normal concern that I think is viewed up and down the country. But according to Crinkle, then, and to a very, very small, loud minority, you're Hitler.
Yeah. Well, another argument he always comes with is his strongest argument, I would say, is that these people are persecuted, they're at war, they're being terrorized, they've had their countries plundered, they have no opportunity. Now, that's just not true. When you look at the happiness scales in the world, you look at the most poorest countries in the world, they're the fucking happiest in the world. They've all got motherfucking smiles on their faces when you see them. They have a very low standard of life, but they're happy with that life. So when you start moving into the mid-bands, say your Indias and your Pakistan and your some of the Middle East, where they do have more than sort of sort of mid-band wealth, they have high wealth as well. Their standard of living is not that bad. They're no longer at war. They're no longer being persecuted by anyone. They're no longer being plundered by anyone. They have no reason to come here. They have all the reasons to now start to build their own countries. But our country incentivizes them to come here. We all know who's paying their $5,000 to $10,000 or whatever it is, euros, to get to this country. We know they don't pay that. We absolutely know that they don't pay that. That's being paid by an organisation, by a man called George. You know? It's an operation. Yeah. It's not a...
And that operation starts literally in the Mediterranean with the NGO ships.
Mm-hmm.
And all the way through Europe.
Well, we have the RNLI who are buying life jackets with all of your donations at the moment. They're using all of your donations to contribute to assisting these refugees to get to this country. You know, it is an operation. It's not a humanitarian gesture. It's an operation. It's a deliberate act.
They're there to rescue people in need. They're not there to be called at the whim by UK Uber Force, formerly known as Border Force, to say, can you get to so-and-so, because we've got a boat and we're pretty busy down our end at the moment. Can you...
Well, when you have the French Navy escort them to the end of French waters, and you have the British Navy greeting them, receiving them, gathering them onto their boats, and then bringing them to this country, it's not happening by accident. They're ordered to do that. They're ordered to do that. All of those.
And you mentioned that Italian woman that
Pippa Booker,
didn't get like 50 miles in Turkey, but there was a horrific Dutch female couple. They weren't lesbians or anything. They were just like two friends, I think. They were traveling.
The photographs were released of them.
Yeah. So I don't know if I'll bring this up now. From what I remember, they were told as well in Morocco not to go there, and they were saying by people in Morocco, don't go to this place, quite dangerous, and they went anyway. And they got gang raped by three gentlemen, should we say, who then stole their phones and Facebooked them.
Oh, the mutilated bodies. They used hammers.
To their parents. Yeah. They Facebooked video call to their parents, and with their heads chopped off.
Yeah. They did catch them because they put their own faces on the video as well, didn't they? Stupidly. But we're all the same, though, Welshie. You know, I'm not trying to come across as some kind of fucking white supremacist here, because I'm Irish. I can't be, you know, as Ubers always points out. But there are massive differences between us, and there the twain should meet is a phrase that springs to mind, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it was truly a horrendous case, because it was a video, wasn't it? They actually videoed their crime to the parents.
It was available on Real Gore for a few years, but I think Real Gore is gone now. The entire video, horrific. And these things happen. I mean, one of Crinkle's arguments is, well, Wales is full of fucking criminals. Wales has, you know, pedophiles and criminals, and
they select let's be very selective what we bring in our country. We've got enough criminals in our country, so this is not just important. Okay?
But I think the point I made last time with him is if I tend to, and I know obviously there are sort of differences to opinion on this. I tend to think our criminals, our white criminals, are dealt justice in a proportionate way. We're all very aware that there's been pedophiles that have got away with some crimes because if they went to prison they would be chastised for being a cross-dresser or a trans, something like that. I understand there's failures within the justice system, but I tend to think proportionately most of them are sort of punished appropriately. But we're very, very aware that anyone who's non-white tends not to be. They bleat on about how the prisons are full of black people because they're targeted. The prisons are now chock full of Muslims, but nobody's mentioning that. That's not a talking point because that blows out the idea.
Do you actually know the percentage?
It's about 70%, I think.
No. So on the Muslim population, it's 15%. But remember, Muslims.
Oh, I thought it was a lot higher than that.
No.
Oh God, I'm thinking America. I'm thinking blacks in America.
Yeah. So when you're thinking of the Muslim population being in the last census 4.4%, you cut that in half. That's 2.2. Then I know it's more than that now. But then they overrepresent them. They overrepresent, obviously, highly again. So if they were 2% of the population, they're 15% of the prison population. Quite a lot.
Well, I've never been to prison, but I'm aware that I've heard a few people say on here that if you don't convert to Islam when you go into some prisons, you're gonna be vulnerable. I don't know how true that is.
Get better food anyway. That's what they say.
Would I get my pork kebab at weekends?
Oh, good. Yeah.
So I don't know if that's proof, because let's be honest, Henry is a fairly intelligent man. Fairly intelligent. He's articulate. He's able to get his point across when he's not getting too excited. It's the fact that his arguments really were very fucking poor earlier. Is that standout proof that his argument is finished? It's gone?
Well, the thing is his argument's really weak because he says he doesn't believe in borders. And with the world system as it is, whether you believe in it or not, you've got to have borders simply because, like I said, people will just naturally migrate to the more affluent parts of the world and abandon, the more poorer countries, and they'll be just left to waste and rack and ruin. Yeah, and I've spoken to him before about this, and I made that point to him before, about acid stripping and just leaving the country into rack and ruin, and he was happy for that. He said that would be basically that would be natured, say. I said, but then you put extreme stress on the host countries that are going to try and sort out this problem. And he was
it's unsustainable.
You've got to provide the solution.
It's unsustainable. We are sadly filling this country full of people who won't be as financially savvy as its hosts. The country is in more debt now than it's ever been before. I don't think it's a recoverable debt without some great happening, sort of like a revolution in some way, maybe technologically or something else like that. So it's just going to go to wreck and ruin now. Fill it full of more people who are a burden on society, and this country is ruined. It's destroyed. It's gone, and that's exactly what they're planning to do. They're removing us from the equation.
Just 2 seconds, Vincent. Banksy style, do you fancy coming on the panel for 10 minutes? It's not going to be on for long, but you fancy 10 minutes? I'm sure my subs would appreciate it. And Vincent?
Who's Banksy? I've seen his channel, yes.
Yeah. He's a migrant from Iran.
Oh, blimey. I have a crazy Iranian friend called Hamid, who's he's an interpreter for Leicester City Council, and he deals with illegals only.
Okay, so bear with me now. I'm going to quickly, as quick as I can, try and send a link to Banksy on WhatsApp's my quickest. I got you on WhatsApp, so hopefully I'll do it on WhatsApp, all right? So look out for WhatsApp in a minute.
Yeah, so it's coming. I don't know if it was Jordan Peterson or Stefan Molyneux that's spoken about these issues at great length. Well, both of them have, but one of them said, if you have open borders, you cannot have a welfare state. If you have a welfare state, you cannot have open borders. It's one or the other.
Banksy, it's got to go on Twitter, mate. It's got to go on Twitter, not on... I haven't got WhatsApp on this phone. Bear with me. Okay, let's get Twitter.
How we doing, chat? Everyone's up late. It's a school night, you know. I want you all off to bed very soon.
Lovely. Okay, mate. Send that to you, mate, on your Twitter. Direct message. Yeah, he's got an interesting story, Banksy, and he's a good lad. He goes to the Speaker's Corner on a regular. Some of my subs might know him.
I've seen him. I think I remember it vividly. There was a 3D dinosaur screen at Trafalgar Square, and I think he was filming it. That's one of the few times I've seen him on live. I don't think I'm subbed to him so if you drop his link in the chat, or somebody can, while he's coming on, that would be nice.
Yeah, if you can put Banksy style live at the stream. Here he is.
Hello, mate. How's it going? Hello, Vincent.
Hey, Banksy. How are you, man?
Good, mate. Good. How's it going? Welshie, it's been a while, mate. It's been a hot minute. How's...
my first ever StreamYard.
Is this your first... Is this your first StreamYard session?
It's not, surely.
I want to kick someone. Yeah, it's my first ever hosting on a StreamYard. I'll kick someone now just for my lols.
That is
his
true.
Cherry, Banksy.
Yeah, I think you just go live on your phone most of the time, don't you? So you don't really...
Yeah, it's on my phone now.
I'm going to apologise in advance, Banksy, because we're demonising illegal immigrants.
Illegal? Have you actually heard me talk about illegal immigration?
I have not.
In that case, then believe me, you haven't literally come even close to the kind of shit that I've said. I was actually talking to my mum the other day about the same issues of illegal immigration and stuff, and basically my model right now at this point is anyone who lands, because clearly we can't seem to deport these people to Rwanda, and we can't seem to get them out because of the European Court of Human Rights and all that jazz. So the only thing I can think of at the moment, which would potentially still be constitutional or legal, and the Human Court of Human Rights may not be able to do anything about, is you do not get any kind of benefits when you land in this country until you've at least paid taxes for minimum of 5 years. We're talking housing, we're talking NHS, everything. You get nothing until you at least paid 5 years.
But you create an unachievable goal for them.
Yeah, but that's to discourage them from coming in the first place.
Yeah.
That's not. This isn't meant to be a thing that's supposed to be like a great, let's all go to England.
See, if you wanted to escape to yeah, we hear you, Welshie.
Yeah. Sorry, Welsh.
Yeah, we hear you, Welshie. You've done it again, man. Somebody in the chat telling me that I can hear everyone.
Yeah,
can
sorry.
Hear, mate. Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you now, lads. I went quiet for a second. Sorry.
Sorry, Vince, you were saying?
Yeah, I was going to say, so if you wanted to now escape to Australia, you've got to you've got to prove that you can fund yourself. You've got to home yourself. You need to have a job guarantee. You need to do and jump through so many hoops. You even need to be below a certain age, Banksy, to do that.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
obviously-
you can't permanently move to Australia anymore unless you're under, I think, was it 45 or something? Something like
Yes,
Yeah, and you
I
need
think
a
it's lower
permanent-
than that.
You need you need a guaranteed job. You need a guaranteed down payment for premises. You need to make sure your kids are in the school. This is all before you arrive.
Absolutely, yeah.
You've got to have funds in the bank, and you've got to have a profession that they want. If they don't need your profession, they won't have you.
Yeah, but that's legal. That's just their legal migration. Yeah, it's 45 years.
Okay.
And if you're over 45, I just googled it. Sorry, if you're over 45, apparently it's no go.
Me and Welsh,
the thing
you
is,
can't
this
go
is yeah. So I'm shit out of luck too. But it's all right. Most things in Australia want to kill you, so I'm not in a massive rush to get to Australia. Everything wants to kill you there, from on land and in sea. But anyway, what I was going to say was that's the legal migration. They've created a situation where they don't even process you unless I think they put you on some kind of offshore island, and then they process you in that area, and that's when you they decide whether you're allowed on the mainland. Now, the Rwanda situation would have been that for us, but of course, we are hampered by a bunch of cuckold lefties as well as the human.
Were you
human
aware
rights
of
in
the
Europe.
details of the Rwandan agreement?
I was aware of the deals, of the kind of financial exchange, and also that Rwanda was going to send a whole bunch of their ill people and old people over in exchange for that.
Yeah, for every person we sent there, they were going to send 2 vulnerable, disabled, unable to work, or people with a condition, AIDS or anything like that, in return. So we lost in the deal immediately.
Hello.
Yeah.
Welsh, we hear you, man.
Welsh, can hear you.
Oh, my emoji's not moving. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, and the funny thing about that is we're taking one for one, and then what we're getting in return is gonna crowd our NHS even worse.
yeah, exactly. It was
And
actually
never
a bad
worked.
deal all
Sorry for
round.
anyone who's debilitated,
Yeah, I mean, once I actually found out about the Rwandan deal, it was like a horrific. It was better to keep the frigging refugees that are coming on the dinghies, because we don't at least have to pay like £30,000 per person as well. We had to pay Rwanda something like £40,000 per person for them to house and keep them in
Like
Rwanda.
£500,000 a person.
$500,000. Oh
Yeah,
my
we
god.
get like 50 million or something crazy.
Oh, okay. I thought it was like 30-40k per person. I don't know, maybe that was 30-40k was something to do with their cost of living, like their pocket money or something. Anyway, I heard something around 30-40k, but either way, yeah, it was a horrendous amount of money. Plus, we have to take all the ill people and old people of Rwanda, or at least a few of them, every time we send someone over there.
This is my idea around it, and it's been my idea around it for over 18 months, and I've been expressing this. And I think Holland done it, but they done a real poor job at it. I always say there's cruise ships moored all around the country because the cruise industry is on its arse, and it still is. It's never going to be recovered. The most expensive cruise ship just got finished, and it's actually going in to be demolished. It's never going to do service. Just for example, so we could actually stick these illegals in these cruise ships, right, and keep them in English waters, but not on our land. Okay, so that the public is safe, and then we can process them, and we can say to them, okay, we can process you, but you're not going in front of the queue. You're going at the back of the queue, because there's the legal route that people have been taking. There's legal routes to take it. So this is your choice.
I think the actual classification should be natural born citizens, citizens with British citizenship, like migrants like myself who got British citizenship, who are in desperate need, and then those who have permanent visas, those who are refugees, and those who are classed as, I guess, economic migrants. That's how you get the benefit system. So you get people who are natural citizens or born citizens, and also people like soldiers, vulnerable people like that, people who are suffering from PTSD. All of them should be at the top of the list, technically. I mean, why do we have homeless people in the streets of London when migrants on dinghies are getting to stay at 4-star hotels? To me, that is unfathomable. It just blows my mind. So
you're sounding like a xenophobe, Banksy.
I do sound a little bit bad. I told you, no matter what anyone has ever said about immigrants, I can be a hell of a lot worse.
Why is your position such?
Because I'm a realist. I just simply look at the reality of the world in which we live in, and the numbers are unsustainable.
Yeah, Banksy, is your mother quite based when it comes to migration? Is she quite like, well, look, it's outrageous?
Well, I mean, when it comes to migration, because I can see the reality of it, and I also move amongst some migrants who come here. Sorry?
Is your mum based about it? Is she quite like...
Oh yeah, my mum is very conservative about these things.
I knew it.
She's even worse than me, and we have massive fucking fights with my younger brother and sort of middle brother, because he's very blue pilled. He's very upper middle class now.
University trained.
Oh yeah. I mean, we all are. We all went to university, but he's a lawyer and he's very upper middle class. I mean, he's in 6-figure category, and so he is. But the funny thing is, even though he's extremely blue-pilled about all of this shit, migrants, we love them, we'll take them in, also all this other sort of trans testicle sort of stuff. But when it came to voting, he still votes conservative because he says, I know what taxes are like. And then he knows which side his bread is buttered when it comes to taxes. Because so he still votes conservative, but he's extremely blue-pilled about all of these other issues. And
when it comes to like sex before marriage or the pill and stuff, it's like, oh yeah, we all do it because otherwise you're popping out kids all the time, isn't it?
Well, that as well, yeah. I mean, but I mean, generally, I mean, you want to talk to him about like these LGBT sort of agendas and trans drag queen story times. He's all totally like liberal about all that shit. Oh no, it's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. And I'm like, you're insane. You're insane. They're gonna start indoctrinating, because I've got a nephew now. He's got a son, and I'm like, they're gonna indoctrinate my nephew into this shit at the school. Admittedly, he sends his kid to a private school, and they are sort of very conservative. This is the funny thing. This kind of bullshit, this sort of thing happens only at state schools. This shit doesn't happen in private schools. Private schools are not dragging drag queens and to read stories to private school kids. When you're paying Muslim 30 grand a year, or Muslim schools, or Christian sort of Catholic schools, and none of that shit. No. You don't get drag queens coming into those types of schools. Or if you're paying 30 grand a year for the kids' schooling, they don't put drag queens in front of your kid to read stories. Hell no. Yeah. They do it to state schools. Do you know what?
Another thing, interestingly, about private schools in this country and all across Europe, none of them insisted on the children being treated for COVID in any way or tested.
Exactly. It's quite amusing now we talk about this drags, the old public school with the old drag indoctrination and all that. Is how you're finding Muslims that have stayed away from basically any subject, really. Not all, the freedom movement definitely had a Muslim contingent, and it was really good to see. There was a lot of Sikhs involved in the freedom movement, lots of Sikhs and Hindus. Yeah. But it's funny how that. I mean, I was watching some footage. I think it was on Jim's live, where all of a sudden you're getting this hijabbed, covered lady going off her tits at the degenerates on the left.
Yeah.
And the police are just like they're not confused. They're what's the right word? They don't know how to
deal with it.
They don't know how to deal with it because they're seeing a hijabbed lady going off her tits at the degenerates. So everything's stopping her going back forward. It's like a fence or like the police there, but she's not having any of it. And you're seeing pockets now I think when this goes on again, which is a continual thing, like Pride's not 1 month a year. Pride's about 6 months a
Yeah,
year.
yeah.
Yeah,
Well, yeah, I
even
mean,
more. You're going to
a
see this.
whole month. This was my other gripe about the whole Pride thing. Jesus only gets one fucking day a year. Jesus
Doesn't
gets
even
one
get
day
that
a year,
hardly.
and he
There's
barely
not many
gets
people
that.
have heard of him at Christmas time.
But Pride gets a month, a
But they
whole
don't get. But
fucking
they don't.
month.
They don't get a month because I'll explain to you now. Where's the capital of sort of the gay thing in the UK? Is Brighton, okay? And Brighton's Pride, I think, is either October the 1st or August or September the 1st. I think it's October the 1st. So there's Pride events up and down the country, not
All the
in
time.
Pride month. Not in Pride month.
Mm.
So you would think all the Pride events would take place in that month. They don't. They take place all through the summer. So you get Pride Leeds, you get Pride Liverpool, and that won't be in the July month or whatever July is. The month it'll be, and like you said, 2 months after Pride, you got Brighton Pride, and you're like, wait there, how can you?
Yeah.
It's just like a 6 month operation.
Yeah,
Full on.
they stretch it all out.
And
How long
actually-
have you been in this country, Banksy?
Since I was 9, so
Okay,
a
so
long
do you have vivid memories of Iran, or are you aware of how the situation is there now?
oh yeah, I mean, I follow the situation now, especially now with the protests I've been following.
Because
when
I was
a kid,
wondering.
yeah, vague memories.
I was wondering how the LGBT and the trans agendas are doing so far in Iran.
Well, technically, officially, there is no such thing. There is no LGBT in Iran.
That's what I was wondering as well.
Yeah, you have a day with a fucking crane, or a large. Well, actually, no, they only hang them from cranes. They don't throw them
Yes,
off roofs.
they
That
do
was
now, don't
ISIS.
they?
Yeah, ISIS was the only ones that were chucking them off roofs. But the thing is, this is the weird paradox of Iran. Actually, is that Iran, only second to Thailand, has the highest numbers of sex change operations.
Wow.
Because in Iran, you are allowed as a man, if you think you're female, to actually have a full sex change. And I'm talking full sex change. You're gonna cut off the franks and beans. You have a new birth certificate issued to you, new national ID, passport, everything. You fully become a woman. But that is the thing. In Iran, under their crazy, fucked up sort of Islamic interpretation, you can be a woman or you can be a man. You can't be a man who's attracted to women. Attracted to men. You can't be a woman that's attracted to other women. You cannot be that. But you can be a man who's become a woman. Now you can be attracted to men. But the thing is,
acceptable?
This is acceptable. Yeah, you can have a full sex change operation legally, even subsidized by the government. They will pay some of it, some of the operation costs, but you have to fully become a woman. Now, the messed up thing is, a lot of gay men, they're not trans, they're just gay men. And they're forced to have this operation effectively. Their choices are, because they've been somehow, one way or the other, they've been outed. So their choices are, you either go to the hangman's noose or you go to the surgeon's, theater. Those are your choices. You can't be a gay man and you can't be a lesbian woman.
So essentially, it's the perfect situation, because here, I do accept. I don't give a fuck what people do with their bodies, but I don't like that agenda being stuffed down my throat continually, and that's what's happening in Iran.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, there is nothing Islamic about this. No, the wider Muslim world doesn't accept this. This is just a purely an Iranian thing, because Khomeini, which was the previous supreme leader before Khomeini died in late 80s, he had apparently a conversation one night with a man who felt that he was a woman, and he managed to convince this guy that he was born in the wrong body, that occasionally God puts men in the wrong bodies, or women in the bodies of men. And of course that doesn't, there's like a massive can of worms in that, where God is perfect, and how the hell does God make mistakes? But anyway, we don't even go there. But the fact is that Khomeini was then convinced that that is the case, and so he decreed that this is allowed, that men can have full sex change operations and they can become women. This is totally unacceptable, in the wider Muslim world, like the Sunni world. That's why a lot of Sunnis don't even consider Iranians as really Muslim. Shiites are not considered Muslim; they're considered kafirs. But yeah, this is a unique situation in Iran. It's not repeated anywhere else.
In Iran, is Shias in Iran, yeah?
Majority, yeah.
And yeah, okay, cool. So,
I mean, the thing with the Shias is it's just a hadith difference. The Quran is still the same, or at least supposedly the same. But the hadiths are different, and their stories of the end times.
Muhammad was about 18, yeah, that's what they say, innit? And when he well, she was older. Sorry,
Aisha was. Yeah, I mean, in the Islamic, in the Shahadiths, yeah, they have interpretations that she was older than 9 and all that stuff. Although, she, technically, according to the Sunni Hadiths, Aisha herself wrote those hadiths, or at least narrated those hadiths, saying that I was still playing with dolls when I went to the Prophet's house, and only little girls get to play with dolls when they go to the Prophet's house. When
they married at 6. She was 6, wasn't she?
Yeah, she was betrothed to him at 6, and then consummated it. Yeah, at 9. Which is not at all.
But then they told us Jesus turned water into wine, so let's not run away with ourselves.
The thing is, look, I don't mind Jesus turning water into wine, because there is no one out in the world now trying to use Jesus' water into wine to have sex with children. Unfortunately, unlike Jesus, Muhammad's example is replicated in the Muslim world. There's a lot of Muslims who say there's no, sorry, I don't want to say the P word, but there's no Jimmy Saviles in the Muslim world. That's because they legalized acting like a Jimmy Savile. They legalize that act because you can marry a 9-year-old, you can marry a 10-year-old. Yeah. So if you legalize it, of course there are none of them in that world because legal.
We have tens of thousands of child brides in this country. The government are aware of this, and they don't act on it for fear of upsetting the Muslim communities.
And another thing now, and I know Banksy can agree because this is factual what I'm going to say now, but one of the most influential social media people that goes to Speaker's Corner, and he's very high profile, Ali Dawah.
And Mohammed Hijab as well.
Yeah, Mohammed Hijab. But Ali Dawah, the statement I'm going to make, said that if this 9-year-old girl started physically becoming a woman, doing what women do, basically in the sense that they start having periods.
Yeah, she's ready.
He says that he would what was the words he used?
He said, if my 9-year-old daughter wanted to marry, I would allow her if I feel that she is mentally, physically, and was it spiritually? I guess I don't know. They have 3 categories. If she's ready, then I would let her marry a 40-year-old man.
But he's totally controversial. I don't think he truly means everything he says, but because of where he is and what he's trying to achieve, I think he goes over the top. Ali Dawah.
The thing is, look, I don't care if Ali Dawah is doing it for clickbait or if because Mohammed Hijab also says, according to the Quran, if you purely follow the Quran, because he was making an argument against the Quranists and saying that you should read the hadiths as well, which is part of the Sunnah. He says that in the Quran, it literally says there is no age limit for marriage. You can marry a 5-year-old. And if you interpret a certain verse, which is verse 66, then yes, technically it doesn't say, because there's a verse that says you should give the women who have not had their menses 3 months because it says the women. This is about divorce. It's the women you can divorce. The women you can divorce is women. If you've married a woman and you are not sure that she's pregnant, give her 3 months, then divorce her. And then it says those who no longer have their menses, so women past their menopause, also give them 3 months, and those who have not started their menses. Now, a lot of people have interpreted this as meaning women, as in young girls who haven't started periods. I'll be honest, I've looked into this, and I've talked to other people. There are schools of thought that say no Muslim at that time ever interpreted this as prepubescent children. They all knew that this was women who haven't had a period in that particular month yet, so they haven't actually started any kind of menses, and that's the ones that they were talking about, because it's purely talking. It always mentions women. It's never saying girls or children or anything like that. The word is always used as a woman. So I think that is a gross misinterpretation by the Muslim Ummah, by the Muslim world, especially the Sunni world, in order to excuse their temptations and their proclivities towards child marriage, because the Muslim world, believe it or not, wants to marry children. Is a huge number of women and men in the Muslim world that want to. The Pakistani government tried to set a ban on child marriages. It was the Muslim clerics and hardliners who protested against it. So there is a big proclivity in the Muslim world that wants them to keep child marriages going. Now, I don't know whether these people are just sick in the head or there's something else going on, but I've noticed across the world in recent years, with exposures of Jeffrey Epstein and the Epstein Island and all of that stuff, this child sort of, I don't want to say things child abuse. There you go. I think that's safe for YouTube. I'm trying to use YouTube safe words. Child abuse seems to be, or taking advantage of children in that way, seems to be a big thing that is everywhere.
Well, they're introducing it to us in all corners. I don't know if you remember, Labour attempted to lobby for lowering the age of consent to 10 years old in the 80s through an organisation called PI, Paedophile Information Exchange. Harriet Harman, yes.
Yeah,
Patricia Hewitt as well. Patricia Hewitt was largely involved with it, and she's the auntie of one of my friends. Weird but true.
Harriet Harman was in a shadow government for a very long time. She's a very high-profile Labour minister, stroke MP. She wanted to lower the age to what age?
10.
This is like, what is wrong with these people?
It was on the front page. It was on the front page of the Sun.
I know I can't leave. If I leave and go on YouTube, I might actually leave the channel. It might just dump me like.
Well, the point, I'll get it.
You want me to find it or something, the link?
I can find it. But the point of me saying that was last Christmas, the head of the Paedophile Information Exchange was at the Labour Party Christmas party, and there's always been a representative at the Labour Party Christmas party every year since this first lobbying exercise. But Labour have claimed to have moved themselves away from that kind of thinking, but obviously they've not.
But it is exceedingly worrying that this is at the highest echelons of a lot of societies. It's in the West, in the East, the Middle East. I find this incredibly disturbing, that this is a thread that seems to run through the whole world. Is this some sickness inside human beings? Is this something
hang on there, not the whole world.
But no,
the West.
But no, because we got the West with these people who are now using euphemisms like MAP, minor attracted people, and the things you just mentioned. And then in the Middle East, we have child marriages which have been legalized through the religion of Islam. And I don't know what the Southeast Asians have, but I'm sure they have a lot of probably child abuse over there in different guises. So it seems to be a lot of this thing going around.
What's the words begin with A when it concerns young people's blood?
Adrenochrome.
That's it.
Okay, I didn't. I thought it was a trick question.
What is
No.
that? Sorry, I didn't understand. What is that relating?
So that relates to um, a lot of people say that if you drink a young person's blood, it preserves your youth. It keeps the age away.
Are you
Um,
kidding me?
yeah, and it's a Vincent. Do you want to? Because I'm not 100% on it. That's why I wanted you to
It's.
say.
I'll be honest with you. It's not really something that I feel comfortable talking about because, and the reason being that that whole adrenochrome story came up at the same time as Q. It came up at the same time as Drain the Swamp. It came up at the same time as,
Yeah.
all of the libraries in America were harbouring tens of thousands of children below them. I don't feel comfortable talking about it and truly believing it because I've never researched it. But
I see. I see.
throughout the ages, the Aztecs did this. They would sacrifice a child to the sun god every single day, a certain age of child, 5 to 7 years old, I think it was, and they would
Every
drink the blood
day?
afterwards. Yeah, the Aztecs were the most savage people on earth. In fact, I had an argument with a black woman on an American panel recently, and she proudly told me she was related to the Aztecs and she's going to battle racism. I says, well, what about the tens of thousands of children that you killed every single year all across Mexico, all across North,
That is
South America,
insane.
And she went very quiet. She's proudly an Aztec because they found burial
Until
pits.
they
In the last 6-7 months, they found burial pits there with 30 to 40,000 children's bodies in each,
Oh
and this
my
was
God.
just one
30
burial
to
pit. And
40,000.
bear in mind, the Aztecs would have had temples all across Mid and South America at that time.
That is
Yeah, I've got this
insane.
picture up. Yeah, whenever people tell me white people are racist or black people are this, I always think, well, let's look at the history. And when you go back, you find nobody's any better than anyone else.
So the thing is, where did those those British ships pick up these Africans from? They picked them off the African coast from Africans who had enslaved them.
Yeah. Well, after the American Civil War and essentially the white man ended slavery, I don't quite know how he did that because it was happening all over the world at the time. Africa then battled us to keep slavery because it was their primary source of income.
Yeah, have you seen that new movie, Woman King?
Yeah, what a load of fucking Jesus, what a load of shite.
They happened
Do you
to
know
pick
this?
the one tribe which was like the worst when it came to slavery and the cruelest
Yeah.
of all of them.
If you hear the true, I can't quite remember the true story, but Salty Cracker did it, and also the Critical Drinker did it. I recommend anyone to listen to both of their 10-minute versions of The Woman King. The story of that group of women is awful. Now they're portrayed as heroes.
Well, that's exactly the problem. I mean, literal whitewashing of history. Literal whitewashing of history. Sorry, go on, babes.
Yeah, I was gonna suggest your Labour was that is on for sex with 10-year-olds.
Labour chiefs, it's okay to have sex with 10-year-olds. Harriet Harman.
Let me try and get that layout. Wait there, I don't know. I've done it.
Just if you can see my icon, just click on the square.
Oh yeah, and then solar layout. There we go.
There you go.
I've talked about this so often. I find so many people who don't know anything about this story.
And there she is.
Harriet Harman, she's no longer in government, though, is she?
She apologised 2 years ago for it. 35 years after. She's in the background now. These people.
Okay, so she's
politics.
still a politician. She's still being elected. This woman is still being elected into parliament. That is unbelievable.
I can't remember her quitting, so yes, let's find out who she's representation
That
for.
is unbelievable that people are still voting for this.
If anyone wants to have a look at what's going on in the US elections, do you want to search up a channel?
Yeah, the results will be coming in soon.
Yeah, they've already been coming in. I've been watching the Tim Pool live.
If anyone wants to put one through, You know, I tell you what, Vincent, if you want to, because I was trying to work out how I can get a video screen on my telly earlier on, is
Right.
because I got two different devices, two different phones. I could come in as two separate people,
Yeah, of course
where
you can.
you could have like a live feed of whatever station. I don't care what station, because it'd be funny from either side.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, it's even simpler than that, Welshie. Just go down to
sorry.
the bottom of your screen, choose present, select or paste in the link of the channel you want to put up, and then that's it. Just add it to your stream. It's really simple.
So when you look at that, is it right at the bottom where it says I got mic, cam, guests, more?
On the more.
Okay.
You know, I've
Yeah,
never
because-
added videos by phone, but it's very simple, I'm told.
No. Then it says on more. It says post, comment, layout, private chat, broadcast info, settings, cancel.
It'll be one of those. It'll be present if it's there. I mean, I've got to go to bed very soon, but I can run something here and just leave it running for you, Welshie.
Okay, that'll be
Choose a
cool.
channel.
I've got. I mean, I can share for a bit, but yeah, I'm also. It's just late for me as well. But
I didn't want
So
to
what
kill
made you so
something.
racist, Banksy? Come on, let's just get to the crux of this now. What turned you so xenophobically racist that you now
Yes.
don't want immigrants and you want to send them all back, or gas them, as Henry Crinkle said earlier? Either bring them in or gas them. They were the two
Clearly.
options Crinkle gave us.
those
There was nothing, no option in between.
There's no category C. There's just category A, category
It's either
B.
plan A
That's it.
or plan B. Choose one.
Banksy, do you know Crinkle?
No, actually, I don't think I do. I don't think.
Yeah, he's a lunatic. I don't know, far leftist, fascist. Easiest way to describe it.
All right.
He-
then.
Some of his statements were they need to hold you down and jab you. You need to go to prison if you don't take the jab.
Awesome.
House arrest, and we might feed you. It's through the letterbox. Total truth, total flat face, not
He'll
funny
be-
comment.
He'll
Meant
be
it.
happy in China then. China will suit him like a glove.
He said he enjoyed the lockdowns.
I mean,
Is that what
I'll be
you
perfectly
do?
honest. This is just as simple. You know, there's a line in the movie Starship Troopers. It's just about simple numbers, kids, and they've got more. and that's all it is. It's just as simple numbers. This is an island nation. You can only sustain so much. Our infrastructure can only sustain so much. The fact is that we're not Saudi Arabia. We're not floating on liquid gold. We have a little bit of oil in the North Sea, which is really not that much as much as people think it is. We are not tapping into any of the other natural resources in this country, because if you've ever read, there's two books that I recommend to everyone always: Confessions of an Economic Hitman and The Dictator's Handbook. And in the Dictator's Handbook, it describes how a kingdom, or even a democracy, any nation, sustains itself. And there are two methods. One is natural resources. If your country has natural resources, your treasury is okay and you can keep going. If you don't have that, then it's the taxation of your people. That's the only thing that keeps your nation going. You have to tax the people in order to fund the country. And you can't continue with this process, this process that we have right now. You can't keep having an influx of people who are not going to put into the tax pot and continuously take out of the tax pot, and have a small, ever shrinking number of people who are actually contributing to the tax pot. And
So, yeah, but what he says they're a net contribution, which they're not. But like I said, even if they were, it doesn't matter. But like I said, at the moment, we're being called racist for simple maths, right?
Yeah.
The maths don't add up, right? Nothing adds up. You can't sustain the influx of illegal migration that just gets dumped onto the authorities at severe numbers at the moment. You know, a good day with good sea conditions, you're talking 700 on average a day. Liam T in the chat. You'll know more than that. Dude.
Last year the Home Office.
I roughly think by the end of the year it's going to be 50,000.
Last year the Home Office gave out 1 million visas.
Yes.
Yeah.
1.1 million visas.
That if you take that as just 1 million new people a year, it's unsustainable.
Yeah,
but if you listen to the news, it's 300,000.
I like to jump in because you mentioned the 1.1 million visas. Now, we just watched some propaganda from Crinkle, from Owen Jones, saying our migration levels are dropped. Well, between the working visas and the migration was 400,000, wasn't it? I think the 400,000 was the migration part of the total of that. And, I'm sorry, but our migration has gone up, year on year and year. Lotus Heat has done a great breakdown on it.
Yes.
And it's gone up since the Blair's time, and it just keeps on going up.
Exactly.
And we're building 200,000 houses a year. You can't sustain those numbers and build houses. The reason why the Conservatives are doing it is because 60% of their backers are house builders. They love it.
But it's still unsustainable. It's in long-term projections are unsustainable. I mean, this is, you see, well, because I swim in the pool of foreigners, if you like, and people who are migrated over recently to those who migrated over decades ago. The old school migrants, the ones who came in the 70s and 80s, hate the new ones. Believe me, if you guys think that the migrants are all going to back each other up, you are sorely wrong, because the old school ones are not in favor of the new ones. But the new ones are not particularly, they've got like plans B, C, and D. So if England doesn't work out for them, or England goes to shit, they'll just go somewhere else, because they are a transient group. It's those who have planted roots in this country, decades on end, children, house, etc. They don't have plans B and C. I don't particularly have a plan C and D. My plan A to Z is pretty much England. And so I have to, even for self-interest purposes, I have to keep this, to encourage for the people of this country to maintain this country, because even if it's for my own self-interest, it's still a thing that I have to do. So it's not even, it's not for king, blood and country or any of that stuff, because there's a lot of people who talk about, their roots, their heritage and all that. And fine, if you're a native Anglo-Saxon or Welsh or Scottish or whatever, fair enough. You have those motivations. For me, even as a foreigner, my motivations are, I have to sustain this nation because my brother's child has to live here too. He has to inherit this country. And if this country goes to shit, he has to deal with that shit. So for me, that is my motivation. Whilst a lot of migrants who come and go, they're like, fuck it, this country goes to shit, I'll hop over the border to the next one.
What's the immediate danger to the citizens of the UK from, should we say, a migration, if you can nail that down?
Sorry, well, could you repeat that? I missed the last one.
So what is the threat to British society from the influx of migration, and what type of migration would be the biggest danger to British culture?
Yeah, but the thing is, all of it. I mean, I'm not even. Some people say maybe I have a particular disdain for Islam, and it's true. I do have a particular disdain for Islam because of where I come from. But it's not just that. You can't have all these Albanians right now are criminal gangs that are coming over, causing all sorts of problems. We have Romanian gangsters, we have Romanian mafia groups that are coming over. We have Albanians coming over. These are not particularly
Isn't 90% of Albania Muslim?
Sorry?
Isn't 90% of Albania Muslim?
That is true as well. But I mean, I'm just trying to think of like European migrations, even not even like Middle Eastern migration, even just Europeans. It's still unsustainable because again, unless these people pay into the tax system in order to fund the services that this country offers, then all of them are net negative. They're all just simply taking out of the system, and very few are putting into the system. The birth rates for the most part is below replacement rates. This is for the natives again of this country, and also, by the way, you can include the blacks and all the migrants into that as well. Most of them are not having children in replacement rates either. It's the only reason the population is growing is because of migration, purely. It's not because of people having kids. And if you're not having kids, then you don't have that younger generation that's going to grow up to put into the tax pot. And the more the sort of the larger your older population is, which are pensioners who are taking out now, they're no longer continuing in, you have a dangerous imbalance in your system where there are more people taking
a few
out.
of those in the last 2 years.
Well, yeah, I guess that's a solution.
Could you do me a big favour, mate? Because I just tried coming off this page and I lose the voice chat straight away, so I'm not very strong.
All right,
But
give me the link.
Can you go on YouTube and go into Steve Laws and pick up his last video he produced? It's
His
called
name is Steve Lord.
Steve Laws. You can do it, Banksy, if you want to. Steve Laws. And his last video says something like a rat to Heathrow.
Wait a minute. I'm putting Steve Laws, but I'm not getting. Wait a minute. Thunder. Oh no, that's Steve. Dude, can you send me a link by any chance? Is it possible that you put a link in the site?
STEV.
Let me see if I can find him. I am.
I've got that.
So it should.
I've got LORSE.
No, Steve with a V, and then Laws, LAWS, Laws. Law and Order.
Laws, as in laws.
Right, I'm just about to put the link in the back chat for you.
Okay. Yeah, no, I've got it. Is it a young guy, shaved face, Steve Laws? Yeah. Okay. What video do you want?
His last one he did.
From Iraq.
Yeah, from Iraq.
To Heathrow hotels.
So yeah, this will be great. I'll put you on full layout, solo layout.
Okay,
there you go.
Bear with me.
Watch this, Vincent.
Oh, wait a minute. No, share my. Hold on. Welsh. Share my screen. I'm gonna share my screen with sound.
Yeah, got it.
Just accept my share. No. Now.
So it'll be another one in the background, Welshie.
Yeah. I've made a request to share screen, so just accept that.
Add to stream. Okay.
There
cool.
You go. Okay. Let me play this again. You can hear it, right?
Yeah. It wasn't
Sorry, what?
Yeah, I picked the wrong video. It's the one
Sorry, I can't hear you. Welsh, say again. Is which one?
Yeah, sorry, I picked the wrong video. It's what it is the video underneath over 4,000 airports.
Over 4,000 Heathrow hotels. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, let me get that one.
Yeah, watch this, Finn.
Let me see. Yeah.
I haven't seen this yet.
Sustainable, yeah?
سلام هموطنان امید که جور و صحتمند باشین موقعیت لندن
Over 4,000 in Heathrow Hotel.
Suffering women.
There are over 4,000 illegal immigrants currently housed in hotels around Heathrow Airport. At least 4,000 illegal immigrants are currently housed at the airport hotels after arriving in England via dinghy or the back of a lorry. In footage shared by an illegal immigrant living at one of the Heathrow hotels, you can see hundreds of young fighting age men loitering around outside the hotels. At first glance, you would never believe their location was in England. As a nation, we have no idea who these people are, but one thing we can be sure of is that the numbers arriving are far higher than the public are aware of. Ukrainian refugees aren't housed in these hotels as they fall under the banner of a different scheme. The majority of these hotels are closed to the public so they can keep a constant influx of illegal immigrants within these locations. Of course, the reason the hotels surrounding the airports are used is simply because the hotels can hold thousands of people all within one location. The illegal immigrants will remain at the hotels whilst their asylum applications go through the system. Once they've been granted asylum, the illegal immigrants are moved into social housing or homes under the private sector, funded by the taxpayer through corporations such as Serco, Clear Springs Ready Homes and Mighty. Around 40,000 illegal immigrants have arrived by boat this year according to MOD statistics. We have no clear figure on those arriving via vehicles such as the back of a lorry. The Home Office and the MOD confirmed they hold no data on those arriving illegally via the Eurotunnel. Calculations suggest that by the end of the year, it will be around 50,000 illegal immigrants by boat, although the true figure for those arriving illegally would be closer to 100,000.
Shocking.
Yeah.
What are they up to,
go.
Banksy? Come on, they've never done this before. This is unprecedented. What are they up to?
I don't know, man. I don't know. There may be other plans. You know the whole World Economic Forum. You'll nothing and be. Maybe there's something about that. Maybe something else is going on.
I mean, there's two theories which stand out. One is, and this is a hard-hitting one, and you as Iranian will probably think so more. They're dumbing down the nation. They're reducing the IQ level. You know, it's an extreme one, but. And then the other one is the EU army. We need an army.
Oh, you're saying that these are potentially for future army recruits?
Yes. Why they're filling Europe full of fighting age men? I mean, the amount of numbers, women that come, it's paltry.
I'm not entirely sure. Because historically, the reason Rome fell was because most of its military was filled with the people that they conquered. And these were not particularly good. They didn't make for particularly loyal soldiers.
They were fully paid, not working. They legalized every fucking degeneracy known to man.
Yeah.
Let them get on with it.
Well, I'm not entirely sure that's a wise move. And also the only thing that I've always said, and this comes down to the whole feminization and the gynocentric societies in Europe and North America, is that at least you have military technology that is keeping you from, safe from the barbarians at the gate, because your men had to go to war. Most of them are too worried about breaking a nail, and their pedicure, not quite dry enough yet for them to march to the to the fields to fight the enemy.
Yeah.
So you're more worried about pronouns than you are about standing a post. So technology is what's keeping, I think, the European nations safe at the moment, because and barely that, because you can see what's happening in Ukraine and other places.
We're going to have self-driving tanks, self-driving airplanes. We're going to have drones. We're going to have dogs with guns mounted on them. We don't need humans anymore.
Exactly. But what I mean is
carry out a war.
That the decline in birth rates, which means you have less human beings being born, thus less soldiers eventually down the pipeline. So you have to have robots effectively doing that soldiery for you. Now, that is if you don't end up in some kind of critical, World War III before that, because right now those robots are not ready. Okay, some drones are to some extent, but really you still need men and boots on the ground. That is still the warfare that we have in the world. So for now, you're not there yet. And so if you're declining, and if your society and your civilization is in decline quicker than your ability to create those robots to keep you safe, you're in the shit. because there are people at the gates. There are always barbarians at the gates. Never think that you're safe. This is the problem with these Westerners, and I see them all the time, and it's sick to my stomach. I don't know how many reports have you seen of Canadian vegans trying to fucking cycle through ISIS territory, and they funnily enough found them beheaded, or little European, or I think it was Swedish girls that were trying to go to some hiking mountains in Morocco. They were raped and killed. And these naive idiots, they go around the world. Sorry, go on.
I mentioned it earlier on that the murderers done a Facebook video called the girls' parents while they were murdering them.
So I hear you very well, Welshie.
Well, can you hear me then or not?
Yeah, no, I
Can't
couldn't
hear you. It's really muffled.
Yeah,
Well, you sort that out. We discussed this earlier on Crinkles. There's let me bring up the screen. There was a lady, Italian lady called Pippa Booker, and she hiked across. She was going to hike across the Islamic world to prove how peaceful they were. She got about 50 miles into Turkey. She was raped and murdered.
There you go. Yes. Italian peace pride. This is what I mean. These fucking naive assholes. I'll be honest. To one extent, I think maybe this is Darwinian. Maybe they should not reproduce these people.
Yeah, it is.
But it's the naivety of these people who live in an uber-safe society. I mean, they live in the most safest environments known in the history of mankind. Literally.
But they were lied to, Banksy. They were lied to. That's the crime, you know. They didn't make their own mind up that the Islamic world was a peaceful place. They were lied to by their left-wing orderlies, you know.
No, it's not. It's not just that they were lied to. It's the fact that you are surrounded by so much luxury, by so much. And when I say luxury, I'm talking your safety and security. The fact that you can get up at 3 and walk down the street and not be murdered by someone. At least that's how it used to be. I'll be honest. London isn't like that anymore.
But how indoctrinated must we be? Look at the headline: Italian peace bride raped and murdered in Turkey. I mean, what was she thinking wearing a bride's dress through an Islamic country? And I'll tell you what she was thinking. She was thinking fluffy clouds and everything's all nice and everything's gravy. Had no idea of the world, zero idea. And it was, like I said, a bit like that Dutch couple, the two Dutch girls,
in
got beheaded by 3 animals, and they videoed it to their parents.
And the cyclists who were Canadian vegan cyclists that went through ISIS territories, and they were told not to go through ISIS territory, and gee whiz, they were captured and beheaded. Isn't that a freaking shock? That's just unbelievable that you went through ISIS territory and you were beheaded.
That was a boy and a girl, wasn't it, on a bike going up a mountain or something.
Yes, and they posted there were vegans on their. I mean, how would I literally? I guess there will be vegans before the article said there were vegans. As the person that I was watching this video was reading it out, I was like, bet they're vegans. And he was like,
you're a what?
and I bet they had their pronouns in their fucking bio too.
I remember the story in Calais. There was a few English ladies, a Care for Calais or something. They were going over to Calais and feeding them, bringing them gifts and clothes and all many things. And 2 or 3 of them had been raped, but they didn't want to report it to the police because it would just make the right-wingers even more racist.
Yes, this literally happened.
People like xenophobes like Welshie just get more racist.
It's that Stockholm syndrome thing.
It's not Stockholm. It's not even that. Because at least you have to be actually captured. Yeah. This is I don't know what kind of mental disorder this is, but in Cologne, when that New Year's, when all those women were groped and some of them were attempted to be, attempted rape.
Right. So if I Google that now, right, they say 1,000, even Wikipedia, actually an audio recording says 1,000 girls were either sexually assaulted or raped.
Yeah.
On that night. Actually says it. I did it the other day.
And one of the politicians literally, I don't know, it was a British politician or a Swedish politician, literally said, "Stop making such a fuss out of this. You're giving the right wingers ammunition." Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
This is what I mean. This is like this clown world.
It's not even for the goods of the people in the country, the people they represent. And the thing is, they think they are doing the good thing, but they even say that. That's how deluded these people are. And when you think about Diane Abbott the other day, so a boy was raped in a migrant hotel,
Yeah.
right? And she says that if you treat migrants, demonize migrants, the word she said, demonize. So you demonize them in a 4-star hotel with 3 meals a day, £38 on a card,
Then they
new
rape
phone,
boys.
but that's demonizing them. They can come and go. They're not locked into the hotel. They can leave. But they are supposed to come back, but it's up to them. There's loads of absconded. And sadly, there's over 100 children that have absconded. So where have they gone?
I imagine one of the senior women at Care for Calais telling the lady who was raped, "You've got to take one for the team here."
Okay, so Care for Calais. Care for Calais. She was fucking one of the migrants, the boss from Care for Calais, the blonde one.
Yes, that's right.
She you can get it up. I can't leave the channel, but if you want to get it up, it's great. She was caught fucking one of the migrants.
There you go.
Yeah, I remember that detail now. Yeah.
But this is what I mean, Vince. When you say, I mean, I know you're being facetious, but when you say things like, why you're so bigoted, this is what I see around me, and it blows my mind. I'm like, am I the only sane person in this insane world? Am I the only one that sees this shit for the insanity that it is? I can't swallow this crap.
Yeah, and what's hilarious about that Care for Calais woman, right, is that we're in the Royal Courts of London. Active was there, and it was getting really fractious outside between the Patriots and the far leftists, and all of a sudden, Alan spotted the boss from Care for Calais, the blonde one. She's trying to give an interview, and he goes, shagging the migrants. She was shagging the migrants on his live feed, and they were all trying to usher him away and everything. It was a proper ambush. He just went, he was shagging the migrants. He was going. I was like, oh god, but she was shagging the migrants.
So this is Diane Abbott's tweet that she dropped in the week.
Oh, brilliant.
In relation to I think it was 14-year-old boy was raped in a hotel, refugee hotel, and she puts up the statement, teenage boy raped at hotel housing refugees. Terrible case. But that's what happens when you demonize migrants and take no responsibility for safeguarding migrant children. So that migrant child wasn't safe where we left him with migrants.
They shouldn't have left him with the migrants, because clearly it's the migrants that are raping people.
Yeah, but take the migrants, you bigot.
And the thing is, she doubled it down. She made a follow-up tweet, which was just as bad. I mean, she's been a politician now for decades. She's got the safest seat, a Labour seat in the country, Tower Hamlets.
People still vote for her.
She is absolutely pathetic. I mean, there's a photo of her, Vincent, with a wrong. She had one day on voting day, 2019, December 2019. Shoes. She had opposite shoes on, standing up. I swear, I thought it was a deep fake business. It's like she couldn't have got into a car and then gone to a location and then left that location, walked all those little bits, and then gone and not realised she had 2 left feet on, and they were odd. Obviously, the shoes were odd.
I saw it at King's Cross Station once.
Her defining moment was when she told Michael Portillo on the Sunday Politics show that black women raise their children far better than white women. And she would go to the wall for her child. What happened with her child, Welsh? Do you remember?
Yeah.
He tried to stab her in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he sends all her kids to private school as well, and then starts and talks about how Labour would do so much better for the kids. For schooling. It's like, you don't even send your fucking kids to a comprehensive.
She didn't want to know about those sort of comprehensives. No way. Exactly. And he was exposing himself and trying to stab people as well in the streets, wasn't he? He might have had a few issues, but
So he had drug issues. I believe it was ice, and I believe he assaulted NHS staff on 7 different occasions, including police on a couple of occasions, obviously including attacking his own mother. So it was a shit show. But this woman is a total shit show. Fuck her son at the moment. Her follow-up tweet is just as bad as the original tweet. She is fucking demented, that woman.
How is it that this woman... You know, she earns, I think, the average MP salary, isn't it like 80,000 a year now?
86,000, but like, if you look at Angela Rayner, I think she pulled $250,000, just under $250,000 in expenses alone.
Well, yeah, this is what I mean. I'm not talking about their other...
allowance.
All the other fuckeries that they do. I'm talking about just a straight-up salary.
Yeah, straight-up salary is 86.
This woman,
that's not including all the,
I wouldn't
all the
trust her in a
on top.
McDonald's. So I wouldn't trust Diane Abbott in a McDonald's. If she served me my McDonald's friggin' meal, order, I would check
Vincent,
3 times.
get her shoes up. Get the shoes photo with the red dress. Go on, get that up, Vincent.
I've got the follow-up tweet. I didn't know this one existed. This is even fucking better.
Yeah,
oh my Lord. Are you ready for a heap of responsibility, white man? Fucking own this shit.
Will it switch? Yeah, there we go.
My earlier tweet regarding the rape of the teenager in the migrant home may have been slightly raw in content, but I maintain my theory. You treat migrants like rapists, then they are going to behave like rapists.
It's unbelievable.
The lack of self-awareness on this thing is unbelievable.
Let me say that again.
So we just had a Tory minister just get sacked for bullying, right? Or he resigned, right? Now she just made 2 tweets there. Now if you just switch that over and said that was a white Conservative MP,
fuck that! They would have been fired.
They would have been fired before. They wouldn't have resigned. They'd have been fired after the first tweet. And even if they try to put the second tweet out, that'd have hung drawn on them. That'd have been done. That'd be fucking hell. So that's what you got to remember. And I think that's what people should do, is switch these tweets and just, like I said, if I was a white Conservative, they'd be fucked. Straight away. The second tweet is worse. The second tweet is worse than the first.
Let me say it again, Welshie. You treat migrants like rapists, then they are going to behave like rapists.
So you stick them in a 4-star hotel with all
what happened to the Me Too and not blaming the victims?
And for good measure, here's Diane Abbott's shoes on the last election day.
Have you got a zoom out of it, or have you just got the close up? It's just bonkers. It's just like, look, they're the wrong shoes. They're odd.
They can't even be comfortable. I mean, how did she not notice that this is?
What's hilarious is that I done tweets about this. And I was getting leftists saying it was a fake, and I had to double check then, because I was like a little bit of doubt. So I hope I haven't been fucking faked out. And no, it was legit, man. It was legit.
In fairness, they look similar to a degree.
They're black.
You're generous.
How fucked up must her toes be if she could put the feet in there and just carry on?
That's the thing. If you wear the wrong shoes, your feet kills you. I mean, how the hell did she walk all day in that shit? I bet she was either, I don't know, fucking drowsy or doped up or whatever, and then she got in the car and then probably noticed halfway to wherever she was going, and then she's like, oh fuck it, I can't be asked to go all the way back.
Cupid stunt points out.
Yeah. This was December the 19th or whatever it was, 2019. This was the election day. She should have gone home and got a when she left the house. Going, shit! You got to realise, and then say, right, I need to go to a shoe shop first. Can you give me a size 9s or size 7s or whatever they are for women's?
Probably 11.
Yeah, but But you would
Cupid
just get it
stunt.
sorted out, wouldn't you? You just get it dealt with. You wouldn't like persevere. You wouldn't
No.
persevere and go.
You wouldn't own it, would you?
No.
Cupid Stunt says she has another pair exactly like that.
Holy shit. The thing is to think how safe your seat must be that you can do this shit and still be elected. You are elected as a parliamentary representative of that fucking borough. You're not just some fucking. You're not serving burgers. You're not picking up. You're a fucking MP.
I'm convinced their legs are crossed, but I know this photo and they're not. They're
Yeah, I can. I can zoom out.
Yeah.
I can.
Because it actually does,
this?
and at this level, it does look like she would have crossed that leg, and that's
She's standing up.
crossed her feet.
There's the original image.
Oh my god! Oh, this never gets old.
If they're crossed above the knees.
She's the gift that keeps. And you remember her interview on LBC when she was talking about the police numbers and how much they pay the police.
Should we get that up? Because
oh my god!
I mean, it sounds like you're picking on Diane Abacus, but that's her name. I mean, she's got a massive bomb. I mean, this interview with the police is so funny. She said they were going to get £80 a week or something, wasn't it? Or £8 a week.
Yeah, well, with the calculations of what she said overall, like £300,000 a year or something for like 12,000 police officers. Yeah.
And then she went to a quarter. She went to 250,000 officers at one point. Then she went, no, not 250,000 officers.
You could see her brain working, couldn't you? Or not?
Yeah.
As the case
well,
was.
Yeah, the cogs were trying to turn. The thing is, she's gone to like Oxford or Cambridge. She's a graduate.
Oh
of one
no,
of those
she was a fast track. She was one of the first black fast tracks. She failed the course. She was given a discretionary pass. This is all included on her unofficial Wikipedia, not the official one. She was given a discretionary pass, and she literally came in last.
In where? Oxford or Cambridge?
I think she went to Oxford, and she was on a fast track scheme. She didn't even get the qualifications to get into Oxford. And when they fast track, you don't have to do an intro.
So you don't actually have to pass any kind of qualifying
no,
test
not at
to
all.
get it. She just got in as basically this is the British version of affirmative action.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Which has been going on for longer than you know. But another funny moment, whilst you're digging out that video, Welsh, another funny moment was David Lammy claiming in interview that no policeman had been seen in that area for years.
That's a cop
for years. But if I just use the powers of electronic trickery and just zoom in a little bit, can anyone identify that yellow thing at the back?
It must be some kind of post. Is that a lamppost? Is that a telephone post? I don't know.
I have a theory on this. I truly think that somebody somewhere in high powers are trying to scupper these people or make them look like jokes. Because these people are surrounded by handlers, people who write their scripts for them, people who write their speeches, and even, interview answers, because they request the interview questions before interview. Most politicians do, if not all, if they're sensible. So I truly think somebody is setting them up.
It's gotta be either that or this is the same as when I think it was MSNBC, I think it was MSNBC reporters, when the building behind him was literally on fire, saying these are mostly peaceful protests,
mostly peaceful rioters. That's it. And the fucking building you could see people running out carrying televisions, and the building was burning down.
And to add on from that, literally seconds later, the person who said that getting glassed by rioters.
He got by those same mostly peaceful protesters.
Yeah, but the iconic shot was him saying it was mostly peaceful with the buildings going. Literally, it was like 30 seconds later. They started bottling a black guy.
This
a
is
black
like
reporter.
this,
They were. And I remember what they said. They said, "Oh, fuck you. We don't give a fuck." We said,
yeah,
because
because
he's
he was
black and all that.
mainstream.
They didn't give a. Yeah.
Well,
just
it was
fucking
because he
went
was
for it.
part of mainstream media, and so they're just like "fuck you" and all that. But the thing is, like, this is what I mean about living in clown world. I feel like I'm I feel like I'm going crazy. I feel like I'm fucking insane. How is it I can watch someone with a burning building behind him and he's like, nothing to see here, everything's fine.
Because they done loads of
This
memes,
is-
didn't they, with that
Oh.
actor, didn't they? You know that actor where they said nothing to see here. Oh, I can't remember his name
Yeah,
now.
yeah. Oh, thanks. It's police. It's
Yeah.
from that the Naked Gun.
Yeah.
Oh man, I forgot his name. But yeah, the Naked Gun
Massive
guy.
meme, wasn't it?
Yes.
got
yeah,
memed out.
nothing to see. Everything's fine. It's Leslie something or other. I forgot the guy from Naked Gun. But yeah, this is it. There you go, Leslie Nielsen. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is what I mean, Vince. This is the world in which I exist in. This is the soup I'm swimming in, and it's just.
Well, are they dumbing down politics? I mean, they've given us a disastrous government over the last 2 years, and most of the countries have. Now they're revealing, or we're slowly being revealed, that it was all bullshit, inaccurate, based on fuck all. Are they destroying politics? Are we going to get a one world politics? Is it in the plan?
I think one world government for sure. They're moving towards
Well-
that. They really want that.
They're making a mockery of politics. I've been interested in politics since I was a child, American politics and UK politics, and I can't stand either now. I still follow, but
Should we put the results on? Should we put the results on in the background or something?
yeah, put them up. I'm going to have to go to bed. I'm going to have one more cigarette. I remember another thing,
Christ,
David
yes,
Lammy. I think
yeah.
somebody's just said it here. David Lammy being on Mastermind. And he was asked who won the Nobel Peace Prize for Physics. What woman won the Nobel Peace Prize for Physics in, I don't know, 1908 or something? And he said Marie Antoinette. And that was one of the answers he got closest to being right, because of course Marie Curie.
I've watched it. It's so painful to watch. How retarded can you be? It's really bad.
How do these people make this? How did they become politicians? This is what astounds me. I must be one dumb motherfucker if I'm just working a fucking regular job and these are MPs. This is what frustrates the shit out of me, because I usually like to consider myself as reasonably intelligent, but when I compare myself to these assholes and go, how is it I'm just working a regular job? What is going on? Why have I gone so wrong in my life?
Where did it all go wrong?
Exactly. What wrong turns did I
David
take?
Lammy looks down on you.
I have to actually look to these assholes for fucking some sort of, representation in my
Inspiration.
politics.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, that's what these people are supposed to be, right? They're the representation. They are supposed to represent me in the parliament, because we live in a parliamentary representative democracy.
See, the way I look at, like, say, American politics and British politics at the moment, I'm looking at British politics. There's no light. There's no light in any party at all. Nothing stands out. Where if I look at America at the moment, I don't want Trump to be 2024. It's DeSantis for me. It's been DeSantis for me it's been DeSantis for over a year for me, and that Carrie Lake. The
She's
Arizona
kicking ass. Yes, the Nevada.
Is it the Arizona governor or the prospective governors?
I thought is she going for Arizona? I thought it was Nevada.
Yeah. And I can see them taking the Republicans further. The problem is with Trump, he's too divisive. He is. That's just the reality now. But I when you look at the Democrat side, they've got nobody. The only people they've got is AOC, and AOC is basically a communist, right?
Dude.
It's not gonna.
In
They got nothing.
Pennsylvania, they're trying to get a man with brain damage elected as senator.
Yeah, isn't he weird
man.
looking as well?
Yeah, this giant like
Fontaine or something. His name is
Fetterman.
Fetterman.
That's it.
Fetterman. The man literally brain damage. He can't string sentences together. I don't think he's complex mentis.
He had a stroke 6 months ago, so I can understand
Yes.
what he's got problems. You can't ridicule. We're not doing anyone's ridicule him. All the right
No, I'm not
wing media. No, but even the right wing media are not ridiculing him. They're just saying this is ridiculous. The guy.
That's exactly it.
Yeah, I know. He literally started his thing the other day, and they asked him his first questions. He said, "Hello
Good
and
night,
good night."
everybody. No, he said,
He went,
"Good
"Hello
night,
and good
everybody."
night," wasn't
No, he just said, "Good night, everybody." He goes, they asked him a question. He goes, "Mr. Fetterman, what do you think about blah, 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 blah? You have 30 seconds. Good night, everybody."
And then he actually answered the question, didn't he? He sort of didn't answer the question, but he went on to try and answer the question.
Yeah.
He didn't understand. He didn't understand what he said, though. That's the problem with his thing, is he doesn't understand what he said.
But this is the thing.
He thought he said hello. Hello, good night.
No, I think
hello.
he was aiming to say good evening, everyone.
Yeah,
that's
he didn't hear
the
it.
expression.
I think he
just
thought,
went, "Good night, everybody."
Yeah, but I think he still thought he said good evening, because he just carried on.
It would have been great if he just said "Good night, everybody," and then just left. just walked away.
And what they've done, it sounds like we're being cruel, but they're not. The Democrats have hidden his disabilities, and obviously he's got them, and everyone's been raising this for months and months and months, and they've had to bring him out in the open, right? And he can't really, he can't answer the questions because.
He can't, dude. The man needs to be in bed. He needs to get rest. He had a heart attack, and
stroke.
I think
he had
a stroke, and he's got severe mental deficiency right now. He can't run for Senate. They're trying to make him into a senator. This is unbelievable. This is.
He's got to have a screen in front of him as well that tells him what they're saying,
it has to,
for him to digest them.
It dictates, it sort of writes down the words people are saying. The thing is, the person, his competitor is Dr. Oz, this TV doctor guy, and this is how bad Doc Oz is that he's not even if you're running against a man who's basically half brain dead and you're losing, you've got fucking problems. If you're losing to a man who's just had a stroke and can barely string 5 sentences, you how terrible of a candidate you must be to lose to someone.
Isn't it the perfect scenario to have them all? I mean, Joe Biden does it. I have them all reading from screens, literally just. Have them as faces. That's it. What's her name? You just mentioned her. The fucking the Latinx bitch.
Oh,
what's her name?
Ocasio-Cortez.
AOC. Yeah,
big booty Latino.
She worked in a bar.
Latina.
She worked in a bar. She did 1 year of activism.
She was a waitress.
Activism, and she was and then she was pushed to the high echelons of politics in America.
She was groomed, dude. She was groomed by the Young Turks. She was set up to do this. They pretty much groomed her.
She got owned by Elon, didn't she?
She's getting owned right now by Elon, regularly. She made some comments to Elon, and then Elon said, "Thank you for your feedback. Now that'll be $8."
What's hilarious then? She did a video saying, I had a phone call from my advisors saying, I see you're having problems with Elon. Do you want any help? And she even says it so. Basically, her responses are coming from her crew, the people she employs.
Well,
she and then she breaks up. Wait, there she breaks up chicken nuggets with her fingers.
Oh right? Yeah, she's eating chicken tenders.
And she's breaking little mouthful but nuggets, and she's breaking them with her fingers, and then she puts them in her mouth. It's like the most berserk way of eating chicken nugget things I've ever seen in my life. It's like, who eats like this? This is like retarded way of eating. Why are you using your fingers and pulling it apart with your fingers, you fucking animal?
You know what Elon
She's got a nice ass, though. She's got a nice ass.
Yeah, big
There we
booty,
go.
big booty,
There it
that's
is.
You know Elon Musk's bio is right now Twitter complaint hotline operator because everybody keeps complaining to him.
Is he still Chief Twit?
No, that's what I mean. He changed it to Elon Musk Twitter complaint hotline operator. The thing is, they literally this is like a billionaire troll that bought the company. I mean, how insane is that? It's like a troll buying YouTube or something. That's trolling everyone on the platform.
I heard somebody say the other day it's like being barred from your local pub and then buying it.
Yes. And the thing is, they can't ban any of the shit he says now. They can't do anything. He can literally say whatever the fuck he wants on this platform, and they can't even ban him. He owns the shit.
Yeah. The best news I read, I think it was Sunday morning. I don't know why it was Sunday morning, but they wiped 90% of the laptops of the Twitter workers, and pretty much announced that about 55%, 60% of them were going to be sacked that day.
Yeah.
And obviously there was a percentage who didn't know if they were staying or going. That's how you gather loyalty going forward.
Oh yeah.
Right.
He's like a dictator. He's come in. He's gonna fire everyone that's not loyal to him. And he's gonna hire a whole new.
But he's not gonna hire. Yeah, but he's not gonna hire them because you got thousands and thousands of people not even coming into work. They're not doing fuck all. They've had a dream time of everything, mate. No one in fucking does employees at jobs like that. No one, right?
Yeah.
They're out because they're doing fuck all. He's not employing people to do fuck all, and he's not going to replace those people. He's dropping 50% of the fucking staff overnight.
Oh yeah. This is I think what he's gonna do. He's already fired like 50% of the useless crap, so he's already cut the chaff from the rest. But even that 50% left, he's gonna slowly start replacing them as well, especially a lot of the back-end programmers, because he knows that the coders are the guys who actually get shit done, and he's going to only have the ones that are loyal to him and he trusts with the code. So that's what he's going to do eventually.
It'll earn loyalty, but he's not going to be replacing that 50%. He might replace maybe 5-10%. But
you're right. The useless 50%, he's definitely going to keep them out. But the remaining 50%, he will, I think, in time start churning, like replacing them with more loyal and trustworthy sort of individuals.
But like you said, he stopped their passes, he stopped their emails, he stopped everything all of a sudden, and he said, "That's it, and we're giving you 3 months pay, which is 1 month more than he has to." Of course, Twitter's blown up saying that what he's done is illegal. What he's done is 1 month better than he's legally obliged to do.
Well, the thing is, they're saying that he is the suit that they took up. They took up a lawsuit. The lawsuit was supposed to be that he has not given them enough notice period for them being fired. But the thing is, if you're paying them 3 months anyway, and they don't even have to work for that 3 months, then technically that's a 3 months notice that you've just given them.
Yeah.
So it's not that he's not giving them enough notice. He's given them enough. He can fire you tomorrow and pay you for the next 2 months, and you've technically been given 2 months notice.
I think he's legally obliged to do the 2 months. So he's basically doing 3, and you haven't got to come into work for it. So go fuck yourself.
Exactly. So you're getting paid for 3 months, and you don't even have to fucking work. So he's given them plenty of time. I don't think, and he said these lawsuits, none of them are gonna, because he's not gonna do something like that without running it over his lawyers and the HR and all of that.
Course.
So he's all of this has been pre-planned long before.
And go on.
Also, he fired 90% of the Indian fact checkers and stuff, and all the team that they had in India. 90% of the Indian team are gone. That were all hired in India. So there's a shitload of people in India that are fucking out of job right now.
Yeah, it's not good. Guys, I've got to go to bed. Cheers for having me on, Welshie. Good to meet you, Banksy. Hope to speak to you again. It's been a good laugh.
Yes.
And
Good, it's
to
been
the
good.
chat, remember it's a school night, so get yourself off to bed very soon.
Yeah, me
Nice
too.
one, Vince.
Actually, it's 3 a.m. for me as well.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Cheers,
well,
guys.
thank you.
See you soon.
Cheers, Vince. Have a good night.
Cheers, mate.
Is she the bush looking lesbian followed old men on stage? I don't know what Hassan's talking about. Big up Hassan.
AOC, I think.
Oh, AOC, yeah. She's my big booty Latina. I take it you follow what's his name? Stein. Alex Stein. Yes. He's fucking amazing. He is so funny. And the thing is, he gets himself right in the mix of the shit. I mean, he goes right in. I'm amazed he hasn't been beaten up. I am so amazed. He's so lucky he hasn't had an ass whooping.
Well, he got spat on last week, didn't he? He got spat on.
Yeah, because he went to a Beta O'Rourke meet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? One of these events.
What's hilarious though, he said actually I quite like you. You're a nice lady, and she just spits at him.
I know, and he's like, you saw how vicious she looked. Oh my god. Yeah.
Talking the demented left.
Yeah, Party Time 99. That's his handle on Instagram.
Yeah. He got over the mic at one point, and they sort of give it to him reluctantly, and he said, "Oh yeah, I'm the pimp on the blimp." Alex Stein, Prime Time 99. I'm the pimp on the blimp.
That guy is just hilarious. He's just fantastic. Yeah, the stuff. I mean, you've seen all of his when he goes to these meetings, these council meetings, in different councils in America, and he dresses up in like one of them. He was dressed up as a female swimmer, and he wanted he wanted to advocate for trans swimmers.
Yeah,
the guy is just fucking.
The thing, the problem he's got is that a lot of it's travelled. He's travelled. His name's travelled, and you've got to get your name as well.
Yeah, that's it. A lot of the meetings now they recognize him, so they throw him out. He gives false names, but they recognize him now.
Yeah.
So they keep chucking him out.
I was going to say, did you fancy 5 minutes to see what's going on with the elections? Putting like Fox News.
Yeah. I've got the results on Twitter. Right now, the Dems are 39 and the Republicans are 40. As far as I think the seats are concerned. At least this is what 51 for majority, and this is what I'm getting on Google. So I don't exactly know. Hold on, I don't know if I can share my screen with you. You can see it on the stream. Hold on.
Let me bring your thing up.
Yeah. Share this.
Okay. Oh, I got it. Add to stream. Okay.
There you go. That's what I've got. Basically, this is U.S. elections. Whoops.
So the blue and the red. But what color blue are we looking at there? There's two different colors.
Sorry. Okay. Yeah. These are not being confirmed yet. These are still in. But it's leading. The blue is leading in these particular. These light blues and the pinks. That means the Republican is leading, but the counting hasn't finished. So, like for example, North Carolina, 73% reporting. Ted Budd is ahead by 50.9%, but they still haven't finished.
So what are they predicting at the moment? What's their predictions?
Well, I mean, a lot of people are saying there'll be a big.
Have they got a mechanical? Have they got a digital sort of predictor?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I'm not sure exactly, but look at this. This is Pennsylvania. This is where that brain damage guy, John Fetterman, is in. He is still ahead. He's actually ahead right now. I swear. It's 51.6% of the votes to Fetterman, 46.1% to Oz. I mean, I haven't finished counting, but Fetterman is actually ahead right now.
How much have they counted in Pennsylvania? How much have they counted in Pennsylvania?
The votes counted. Well, as I said, I don't know whether it's not giving me. This is one. where's it? Was it
Crazy.
1,208? No,
Okay.
258,225
They're
votes
not.
for Fetterman,
They're not.
and
They're not giving you a percent. Oh, they're not giving you a percentage, though, are they? They're not giving you a percentage of the vote. Just
um,
without the
yeah, well, they
percentage.
are. They are. You see, this is okay. Let me zoom in. I don't know if you can see better now, but
Okay.
Fetterman has got 51.6% of the votes so far,
Yeah.
and Oz has got 46.1%. It's still not counting, but technically,
Mm.
Fetterman is ahead by quite a bit right now. He's got quite a bit of a lead. Can you
Can you
believe a
check out?
fucking
I
dude who's
know.
brain damaged?
Can you check Arizona for me while we're there?
Arizona. Yeah. This is. Hold on. Oh shit. Hold on.
It's alright, mate. It's cool.
Arizona. This is Arizona. This is. Nope. Sorry. Yeah, no, that is. Well, no. This is well, this is Senate. No, because Arizona. This is the Senate for the. This is the senators. So Mark Kelly is Democratic Party, and Blake Masters is the
Right.
Republican. Now, actually, Mark Kelly is winning at the moment with 56.4 and 41.3 for Blake. But this is the
Well,
Senate. This is because
right.
what's her name? That woman, she is
Mm.
running for governor. She's not running for
Yeah.
Senate or the House. So she's trying to become the governor of Arizona. So that's a different thing entirely.
Can we
But
get
at the
that?
moment, looks like that Arizona's senator might become well, there's a chance it'll become a Democrat, but the governor could still be a Republican. It could, still be the lady. But I
Yeah.
don't know how to find out. Whether that. Oh man, I forgot her name. Something Kelly. Um,
Carrie Lake. Thought it was.
Carrie Lake. That's it. Carrie Lake. That's it. Yeah. Know how to find out how she is doing, or whether she's gonna get elected or not. I have no idea. But right now, Arizona's it's light blue, but they haven't finished. So we'll see what happens there. I just can't believe they're gonna fucking give a guy with brain damage, make him a senator. I mean that is just, to me, that I'm just quitting this planet. That if he gets elected, I swear to God, I'm just quitting. I'm done. Fucking done as far as I'm concerned. If they're fucking electing literally brain damaged individuals, this just there's no hope. There's no hope. That country's fucking done for.
And the
But
worst thing about it all was when he was sort of interviewed. He's been interviewed like a couple of times. It looks awful, and it's like, what are you doing? You
it's
shouldn't vote for him because you shouldn't put the
unbelievable.
press. You shouldn't put the pressure on the guy. He's obviously been.
Really,
He's not fit. He's not currently fit. He might be in at least 6 months or a year, but he's not fit today.
yeah. Like for example, you see this Florida, Marco Rubio won Florida already, but that's just the Senate. It's not. It's not to do with governors. Wait a minute. No. There we go. Here we go. There's different at the top. There we go. We got the House. We got governors. Now, holy shit, Kerry Lake is losing. 55 to 44.
It's a fix, man. She was 20 points up. She was.
I know, man. I know. I mean, it's not over yet, but she's
She was
she's
20.
losing at the
She was.
moment.
I think she was 20 points up. She was
Wait a
double
minute.
figures up. She was.
Yeah, they've only reported 38%. So there's a long way to go. They've
Yeah, but
only
wait
reported
there.
38% of the votes.
I know she was double figures up
Uh,
on
I
pre-polling
think you're right. I think she was actually up quite a bit, but
because her
the,
opponents refused to debate her. When you refuse to debate your opponent, it's not really a
yeah, I
good
know.
sign, is it?
I know, but the thing is, I think that woman played it smart. She was smart not to, because she would have got eviscerated. She would have been eviscerated by Kerry. Kerry would have eaten or chewed her alive, and it was a good strategy actually for them not to. She avoided Kerry standing on the same stage as Kerry Lake for ages. I think there was like one incident they were both on the same stage one time, but it wasn't even a debate. It was like interviews or whatever. But I don't know. I mean, that woman. It was her. This Katie Hobbs. It was a good strategy. It paid for her. She didn't have to stand side by side and then have Kerry Lake fucking terror a new asshole.
Yeah, that was one of the safest sort of looking seats that I seen, and they count the pre-votes, don't they? And she was up double figures.
Yeah, I mean, it's not over yet. It's not over yet. I mean, Ron DeSantis obviously won Florida. He won. It's 89% reported. You see, you got to realize this is only 38%.
Steve, we got Smoke Steve in the chat here. Smoke Steve is an American channel I go on a regular. Do you fancy coming on the panel, Smoke Steve?
Smoke Steve.
Yeah, so sorry, mate, carry on. It takes about a minute.
So good. Oh, yeah, Smoke Steve. I see. I've never seen. So there's a lot of people in this chat of yours I've never seen. Funnily enough. It's 3 a.m. Holy shit, I gotta get some sleep. Yeah, so South Carolina is done. Florida's done. Georgia still going. It looks unread though because 68% of votes are in, 53%. So that looks like it's gonna get red. Pennsylvania still 50-50, only 46% reporting, so that's not. New York, well, that's gonna go blue anyway. It's pretty much guaranteed. These sort of states, Maine.
Well, they weren't that sort of. I know it sounds silly, but New York was a bit of a question mark I was hearing. But
okay, now this is for the House.
All the red there.
For the members of Congress. Yeah, there's a lot of red here.
Pink. Look at the pink. All the pink as well.
Yeah, Florida and yeah, there's a lot of pink. Well, I mean, these haven't been called yet. These haven't even started. 0-0 Illinois, Missouri, Kansas. Obviously, these are Wyoming. These are sort of
the wave.
But yeah, nothing's come in yet. Nothing's come in for these yet. But some of them have. Like, there you go. There's 2 seats. Sorry, for Republican. But this is the House. There's a lot more seats. First of all, for the House, and second of all, a lot of it hasn't even started yet. So yeah, there's a long way to go for that one.
There's a lot of red in it. There's a lot of red there, or pink.
There's a lot of chunk. Yeah, there's a lot of pink at the moment. But these are estimated to go red.
Yeah.
That's.
Yeah.
Well, it's not anything guaranteed yet. These ones obviously have already been done. But we'll see. I think there's a good chance that the Republicans will take, because look at that, the Republicans are 86 already, and they've gained 2 extra seats. It's 218 for majority. You have to get 218 for majority.
Against 48. Still very early on that, though, isn't it? Because there'll be a lot coming in.
There's a long way to go. Yeah, there's a lot of these haven't even started yet. They haven't even finished. They haven't even started counting. That's what these indicate.
Well, I don't know. The
grey ones.
I don't know the population of Brazil, but I presume it's much higher than the population of America, and they seem to be able to count their votes, even if they are sketchy, in 24 hours.
Yeah, I mean. The thing is,
it takes the Americans 2 weeks to count their votes. The most developed country in the world.
No, the thing is, Brazil has 214 million. America has 350.
Okay.
So no, the US, the 214 for Brazil, 331 actually. So
about
Brazil,
the same.
Yeah, they're not. Yeah, I mean, America has a
I thought that was Brazil then. Yeah.
Yeah, no, the 331 is USA, 214 million. Brazil. No, I mean, Brazil is busy. You're right. I mean, it's a lot of people there, so they do manage to count them fairly quickly. I think there's something fishy about this thing, because I'm sure in this modern day they would be able to count these ballots a lot more efficiently and a lot quicker.
Well, that Kerry Lake, they were already complaining that in the Republican areas the machines weren't
working. They didn't have enough ballot papers.
Yeah, so she went to a liberal area to vote just off the cuff, and all the machines worked and everything was in order. She did a press conference outside. So she said I was going to vote in obviously in more like a home area, but I actually went to a highly liberal area to see how everything was working in the polling station, and it was all working fine.
Interesting. Yeah, somebody's putting a finger on the scale on this thing. I mean,
I don't.
This is the thing, man. You just don't know.
I don't trust the machines. I don't trust the machines anyway.
No, you know, I think it was Sweden or Switzerland, they stopped using them because they were untrustworthy, and they were too prone to tampering. So they actually stopped them. They went back to paper.
Well, if you Google Dominion voting machines, you'll see some it's so basic.
Yeah.
You can get into them. It's so basic.
Yeah, there's a guy on YouTube. He did a whole video about how he hacked into one.
Yeah,
He
it's
just
not
did
even
the whole
hard, is
video
it?
about how he hacked into one. No, it was a piece of piss. With a USB pen and a few, I think he had to get into the machine somehow, but he pretended to be like a what do you call it, like a service guy for one of the Dominions prior to obviously an election era day or whatever. So he pretended he got in, opened the machine up, did some fucking fiddling, and bam, fixed the fucking machine the way he wanted it. So yeah, I mean, this is why I'm highly skeptical of the electronic ones, especially if they don't have enough security measures to make sure there's no tampering. But that's why paper is.
I mean, I'm not being funny. There was a stage in my life where there was a mistake on a fruit machine, and this fruit machine, I could empty every coin out of it, and it was a problem throughout the whole. It was called Ace fruit machines. They used to do so the whole family of fruit machines were based on the same system, and it was flawed. And I found out about it, and I rinsed it. And eventually, guess what they did? They took the machines away when they realized there was a problem, and they just took the machines away. They were gone. They just it was like it was like a bad kettle. They pulled them all back.
Yeah, they recalled them.
Yeah,
they recalled them because you can't afford to keep losing money on these things. They have to make money.
But this is more important than that. This is like democracy. What it all is, and you're relying on something that's so vulnerable, right?
But that's exactly it, man. That's why they they do this shit. They keep them because maybe somebody out there's some people. I don't want to be all conspiratorial about it, but maybe somebody wants them to be faulty. maybe there's a bigger thing going on. So,
well, I think the first country to take them on, wasn't it Venezuela? They had them first. They checked them out first.
Yes, that's right.
A nice reputable country to check it all out.
Holy
you think
shit.
None of it even makes any sense, really, does it? It's like it's just
man. It's there's some dodgy things going on. But look at this, fucking hell. Nearly 50% of the votes are in. And Fetterman's actually still in the lead. I can't believe it. This is right now the only seat I care about, because if they elect a person who's literally working with half a brain, then I'm fucking done. I'm fucking done with this world. This world has officially become clown world. I mean, the man literally had a stroke. What is going on?
I mean, Banksy. You could go on Twitter now, put Fetterman in Twitter, and just look at his gaps, and they're hard to.
I know.
They're actually harder than Biden, because what's hard with Biden is watching him leering over women and girls. That's really hard to watch. I find it physically hard to watch. But when he's like really dumb and when he's really stupid, I don't really pity him. But I'm actually pitying this bloke, because obviously he's had a serious illness and they pushed him in the limelight. So go on, you can answer these questions. And he's like, I can't even digest what they're saying into my head. I digest it wrong.
Fetterman, I wrote it right. I can't. Fetterman. Shall I just write John Fetterman and see?
Well, it's FET.
Fetterman.
Yeah.
Yeah, I put in John Fetterman. Lieutenant Governor John Fetterman. Is that him?
Might be.
No, that can't be it.
Just go for videos and you'll see.
Let's see if I can find it, and then I'll. Oh yeah, there it is. But it's not giving any gaffs. Hold on, let me just put it into the. Problem is, I haven't accessed the sound, so.
He doesn't look quite human, does he?
Yeah, it looks like Frankenstein's fucking monster. It looks like he should be chased down the road with pitchforks and torches than to stand for a Senate. But just think how bad frigging Oz is. How unlikable Oz actually is. That people are willing to vote for someone who has literal brain damage over Oz.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're losing to a man who has he's literally, the man should be in bed. He should be at least, doing like 12 months bed rest in order to get his cognitive abilities back. The guy is literally suffering. This is insane that they're making. It's actually, I think, kind of cruel that they're pressuring him to even do this.
Of course it is. It's
His
like
wife should be talking him out of this shit.
And the thing is, like, when it comes to Diane Abbott, I've got no sympathy for Diane Abbott because Diane Abbott is just, she's a gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah,
That's great. She's a gift that keeps on giving. Oh, have you seen the Oprah Winfrey clip where she's promoting child abuse?
No.
Yeah.
What do you mean? What's she saying?
On video, man. She's on video.
Is it on trans or is it actually like other things?
No. Child abuse. I've seen it the other day on video, man. I've seen it on Twitter. It was on Twitter. Let me see if I can find it. I've got my other phone now. I can send it to you. It's fucked up. It's fucked up. How do you spell Oprah?
If Uncle Fester and Richard
Oprah
had a baby, it would look like John Fetterman. Twitter, you cruel bastard. Oh God, Twitter is a cruel mistress. That Twitter. I swear, man. I hope that we can get away with a bit more, edgy shit now on Twitter. I would love to see some of that.
Wow, I just found it. I was quite petrified and sticking the video in, sticking the search in, and I pulled back and just put Oprah Child. I put Oprah Child and it didn't come up. Proof Oprah Winfrey says it's okay for child abuse to stroke something. Full video is on YouTube, or I got a clip here. I'll send it to you on there. I don't know.
Yeah. Let me share my sound. I'll show you that clip where he says, "Good night, everybody." It's just, I don't think that bit just never gets old. It just never gets old. Hold on.
Wait, let me find.
Is this the bit? Oh no, this is the one. It's got to be this one. Yeah, share my screen again.
Okay. 2 secs. Solo. There you go.
Oh no, you're not sharing me. You're just soloing me out. You need to.
Oh, look, wait there. 2 seconds. Yeah, 2 seconds. I'm just sending you a clip. There you go. There's that, and then I need to go.
Where did you send it? In Twitter.
Guests. Yeah, just sent it to you in Twitter. Add to stream.
No worries.
There you go.
Yeah, let me see. This is the.
As lieutenant governor, you're running for a seat that could decide the balance of power in Washington. What qualifies you to be a U.S. senator? You have 60 seconds.
Hi, good night, everybody. I'm running to serve Pennsylvania. He's running to use Pennsylvania.
As lieutenant governor, you're running for a seat that could decide the balance of power in Washington.
Let him speak now. Let him speak.
To be a U.S. senator, you have 60 seconds.
Hi, good night, everybody. I'm running to serve Pennsylvania. He's running to use Pennsylvania.
As
That was it. It just keeps looping now. That's it. That was the clip.
Okay.
That was the clip. Oh, this is the other. I think this might be another one. Let me see what he's saying here.
I'm running to serve Pennsylvania. He's running to use Pennsylvania. Healthcare is a basic fundamental right, and I believe in expanding that, and I believe about supporting, fighting for healthcare, the kind of healthcare that saved my life. Inflation has hurt Americans and Pennsylvania's families, and it has given the oil companies record profits. You know, he has never met an oil company that he doesn't swipe right about. We also be able to make more in Pennsylvania and make more in America. When he had a choice to make his merchandise, the Oz label is on, he made it all in China. He keeps talking about Bernie Sanders. You know, 3 years ago, he was on his show and he hugged him and he said, I love this guy. You know what? Why don't you pretend that you live in Vermont instead of Pennsylvania and run against Bernie Sanders? I believe we need a comprehensive and bipartisan solution for immigration. That's what I believe. I don't ever recall in the Statue of Liberty did they say, take our tired, huddled masses and put them on a bus and use cheap political stunts about them. And this campaign is all about, to me, is about fighting for everyone in Pennsylvania that ever got knocked down, that needs to get back up, and fighting for all forgotten communities all across Pennsylvania.
They've actually, that was an edit in order to actually make him sound normal, because they cut out all the like just repeats and the fuck.
But I like the way you mentioned. What was the vineyards? What was it called? It's the islands.
Oh yes, yeah. I forgot which one's the one DeSantis. It's the one DeSantis sent them to, where Barack Obama has a house and everything. Martha's Vineyard.
Martha's, that's it. And it was so hilarious. I've got an echo going on here.
Oh, sorry, it's probably me sharing. Okay. Oh, hold on. Let me try to click on this link.
Hello.
Yeah, no. It's me. It's because I'm sharing. Hold on. Let me just play this this Oprah thing, and then I'll stop sharing, and then you should. Christ. This is it, right?
In 2019, Oprah Winfrey had a special with child abuse victims of Michael Jackson. She went on to explain that when done right, child abuse feels good.
So this is what so many people don't understand. A big part of the confusion and shame for child victims is that the attention and the seduction from the predator, who is probably going to be somebody you know. Right. In order for it to work, it has to be somebody you know, somebody you admire, somebody you respect, or maybe even love. And it feels good. I mean, if you're 7 years old and somebody, which I was trying to say this to my friends who had children, you're 7 years old and someone is stroking your penis, it feels good. Right. Even though you don't have a name for what that is, it feels good. And when I first said this years ago, people were like, you're crazy, because everybody wants to believe it's like sexual assault and you're being thrown up against the wall and you're being raped. And I have said for years, if the abuser is any good, you won't even know it's happened. You will be in it and you won't even know it's happened. And if the abuser is any good, he or she is going to make you feel like you're a part of it. I mean, and nothing is more being a part of it than what we discussed earlier. Then you say you were married. You had marriage vows and you have rings. Right.
Program.
Oprah legitimized the notorious sex criminal Zhao Teixeira, aka John of God, as a miraculous faith healer, one who could cure cancer, giving him international recognition. Zhao Teixeira is now serving 19 years in prison for the rape of 4 women. He is facing additional cases related to several sex crimes, including keeping teenage women as sex slaves in underground mines, forcing them to have his children, and selling their babies internationally for tens of thousands of dollars before murdering the women after about 10 years of childbirth. Oprah runs her own Leadership Academy for girls in Africa, a $40 million school for disadvantaged girls, where in 2007, several children
Holy
Uh,
moly.
yeah. Doesn't she look youthful, that Oprah Winfrey?
She's very, very young looking for a woman who's got to be at least in her 60s, late 60s, possibly even 70s. I don't know how old Oprah is. But let me see. Oprah
And
Winfrey.
she didn't just
Winfrey.
make one comment. She backed that comment up with multiple statements.
Yeah, she's 68. She's looking good for 68.
Isn't she?
But then again,
what's she using to get that skin, that perfect skin? And she doesn't look like she's had loads of work done. Doesn't look like she's had loads of work done. It just looks like
no, she doesn't look like she's had any work done. But then again, maybe that's the secret of a good surgeon.
Well, not really. I mean, even you can, you know what I mean. There's lots of telltales, isn't there? But when you got chubby cheeks like that, and there's hardly any wrinkles, and
well, that's the other thing as well. If you're chubby, if you're a bit fat, my brother always says the other
68 though.
Yeah, a few months ago we were at a place, and I was looking in the mirror. I was like, "Look at that! I'm not too bad, for my age. I don't have any wrinkles." And my brother said, "Yeah, there are no wrinkles on." So I guess maybe that's why Oprah has no wrinkles. She's always got those chubby cheeks. The collagen is pushing the wrinkles out.
Oh, it's collagen, is it? It's collagen.
Well, fat, collagen, all that shit. Yeah. But I mean, these people get collagen injections and all sorts of crap going on with them. They probably are drinking the blood of kids too. that blood of young virgins keeps your fucking cheeks boost.
Adrenochrome.
Yeah, I mean, God knows. But I know for a fact that what's her name? Sandra Bullock. Sandra Bullock admitted this on the Ellen show, so it's not like some conspiracy theory that we're guessing. She admitted it. She uses some sort of a cream or something that's made out of, supposedly, and this was what she admitted to on the Ellen show, that is made out of the foreskin of young Korean boys. They cut off the foreskin and then they create this thing from the collagen in the foreskin, and she admitted to this on the Ellen show. So what they're really doing behind the scenes is God knows what monstrous satanic fucking rituals they're running around. But I mean, it's on YouTube. You can go look it up. Sandra Bullock, Ellen show. 14-year-old boys, the foreskin cream. It's crazy. It's crazy what these people do. So there are these kids. I'm telling you, dude. I think those biblical shit about like how God decided to flood the earth because the mankind had gone so degenerate that God decided to kill everyone and start again with Noah. I'm sometimes thinking to myself, maybe this is the sort of shit people got up to, some evil fucking shit. And societies went bad because, I mean, I don't want to get all conspiratorial, and I don't even believe in God, so I don't really believe in the Bible. What I do believe is that I think people record historical events and they sort of wedge them into stories of myths and legends. And maybe there were some civilizations that just became so debaucherous and so just completely fucking wrong that they just wiped themselves out and new civilizations came about again. Because we don't really know. We guesstimate that human beings have been around 200,000 years, but we don't really know. There could be civilizations that were 200,000, 300,000, 500,000 years old. There aren't these things are not an exact science. We're just going on what we have the best evidence for at the moment. But you never know. I mean, they're still not 100% sure about the age of the Egyptian pyramids. So there's a lot of gaps in our knowledge. And there's a very good chance that, in some civilizations that were maybe even super advanced, and they were doing all sorts of debaucherous shit. And they basically killed them. And people didn't really, they lost the knowledge of the time, or they just remember them in Chinese whisper stories, which ended up in things like the Bible stories and other things like that. I'm not saying, I've got evidence for all this. This is all the shit I'm pulling out of my ass. But it's just, I'm thinking,
Talking about pulling things out your ass, Paul Pelosi and the situation he had with, should we say, a hammer, and
yes.
I mean, I'll give you the breakdown of what I know about that. She's third in line to be president. I think she is.
Yeah.
Nice. And it's completely cameraed up, right, with security lurking outside. Now, there's many reports of people saying they live there, and when they moved there, they were getting stopped by the Secret Service because it's very high. It's really, anyway. The glass was on the outside of the building. When he answered the door, he walked back in the building to the so-called attacker, and then he got attacked.
Yeah.
And what's crazy is if I was getting attacked with a hammer from an intruder from outside, I would open the door and Superman out. I would
exactly. You'd run towards the police. You wouldn't just open the door and go, "Oh yeah, fellas, just come in here. There's the guy who just attacked me with a hammer is just here."
Well, if he was hitting me at the time, I wish he wouldn't even use the door handle. I would just go through the door.
But
somehow he walked back in the house and let the police come into the house, and then when the guys see the police, then it's very unusual.
This is why, funnily enough, if you notice, there's a sudden absence of the body cam of those police officers that visited. There is not only that, there is actually a camera that is on all the time, and someone has to be monitoring those cameras at all times of that house to make sure that Nancy Pelosi, for fuck's sake. So there would have been somebody at some station somewhere, or at least there's certainly recordings of the movements of the inside of the house. None of that footage has been released.
So what he did, this chap, he left his house, walked to Pelosi's house. I don't know how far it is, but he walked there in his underwear. He then breached the outer wall, which has sensors on the other side.
Yep.
It is all
on the inside.
It's not a normal house, and because it's so close to the street, it has all of that properly tight in it. So there's alarms. Alarms would have been raised. Silent alarms would have been raised. He's then breached. He's breached the building itself and got into the building. And without alerting to the authorities found out when the phone call was made to the police.
I know, man. The whole thing stinks. I mean, a lot of people say maybe he was his gay lover. Others say maybe the guy was a drug dealer and he was, asked him to come round, and then they had maybe an argument over some issues with the drugs.
Release the footage, innit? Just release the footage. Release the body cam.
The story of this guy breaking in and try to kill him or find Nancy this is not the truth. That is the bullshit that I'm not buying.
So what I heard, because obviously he lived in a bus that had BLM all written all over it, right? And obviously all the other stuff with it, all the other cancer, all the other Marxism sort of symbols, but. Right, he's supposed to be into QAnon. What was hilarious, I've seen reports of saying that these sites were set up at 2 a.m. These sites were set up. The
QAnon ones that he supposedly
claiming to be him. They've got no records of before that date. I don't know how true that is, but it wouldn't surprise me.
The thing is, it doesn't matter.
Nothing
even
if I.
The thing is, imagine I'm talking to you and you post me a bunch of links, and some of them might be Qs or QAnon or whatever, and I just go and look at them. Now, am I a QAnon? Am I just suddenly now I believe in all that shit because I clicked on a few links that someone sent me? He could have very well have had those sites and visited those sites because someone sent it to him. There's no way you can gauge that he actually believed in any of that shit.
And one of their go-tos is he's a conspiracy theorist, and only right wingers are conspiracy theorists. I was like, what the fuck? What am I listening to here?
Apparently,
are they trying to make me
no left wingers?
Yeah, it's a bit like the Nord Stream pipeline. You trying to make me believe that the Russians that spent billions on their own pipeline, they were going to use it as a pawn to either freeze Germany or not freeze Germany, right?
Dude.
Then sabotage their own pipeline in German waters, which is an act of war, right? Is that what you're trying to make me? Is that what you're trying to make me believe? Yeah.
This is the classic. It's literally the quintessential dictionary definition of pissing on your head and telling you that it's raining. It is that obvious. This is what pisses me off about these sort of moments, is that they think I'm that stupid. I take it as a personal that they are literally, they believe that I'm that fucking stupid that I would buy the bullshit that they're putting in front of me. Like, I'm sorry, at this point, you're now insulting me.
Yeah, and it's even worse because they'll say, and I don't watch the BBC now. I don't get it. I don't watch it. So I watch Sky, and it's a free. I don't fucking subscribe to it. Anyway, they'll come up and they'll go, oh, and Derek O'Neill, our military expert, Derek. So, what's your opinion on the Nord Stream pipeline? And he goes, as far as we can see, I mean, it seems like the Russians. It's an act of sabotage, and you're like, not mentioned once is America, Britain, or any other allied country. Not mentioned once. It's not even questioned. And it's like, well, it seems to be sabotage. And you're like, well, why?
Yes,
give me any good reason.
We know who sabotaged it. It wasn't the fucking. We know it's an act of sabotage, and we actually know who did it. Pretty good shot at who did it. Man, this is what
I said. The Americans. I said the Americans, but the Russians said the British.
To be honest, I think it could have been the French, for all we know. It could have been the fucking Germans themselves.
Okay,
I mean,
I'll give you another conspiracy, right? Because I thought it was obviously the Americans, but the Russians released it about 4 or 5 days ago. They said they got evidence it was the British. Now, another thing, Kim.com, did Kim.com? He's big on Twitter. He's that pirate guy, any Pirate Island or whatever. He's no. Anyway, I
haven't seen him, but yeah, go on.
He turns around and he says that Liz Truss using iCloud or fucking vulnerable communications, text or whatever, communicated with Senator Blinken, the American Defense Secretary, and said, "Job done."
Done. Oh fuck me.
1 minute after the seismic event that happened in the North Sea, or off the North Sea.
Holy shit.
1 minute. So he says, now it's on Twitter. It's on Twitter, so you could I could find it. He says, that's the beauty of something iCloud or something and unprotected. That's why Liz Truss got sacked or resigned. That's why she really resigned.
Are you serious? So
yeah.
This is how this did
go. Let me try and get it
over an unsecure fucking channel.
Yeah.
Saying job done after they fucking blew up the pipeline.
Yeah.
Oh damn.
So let me see if I can find it. I'm on my other phone and doing it. There we go.
It is kind of stupid, though, to send it over a public cloud service messaging when clearly these secret services and these organizations have their own communication channels which are highly encrypted. So why the fuck?
Kim dot. Oh, I've spelt it wrong for that, and comma, with spaces and all sorts. See if I can find it. People, come on.
But I fully understand it, though. Fully understand it. Makes total sense.
Yeah, I'm just trying to find it because it's he's a big King.com. It's not.
Is Liz Truss just an MP now, just in the backbenches now? She's gone back to the backbenches.
Yeah. King.com. Right. Oh, there it is. I found King.com. There he is. Okay, right. Yeah, he's got 1 million subs on Twitter. Let me try and find Liz Truss. Liz, because I'll just put Liz Truss in on his search thing, and I'll find it that way. Bang.
Okay. I reposted this thing. There's a strip club called the Little Darlings, and they put up a sign in Vegas saying now hiring all ex-Twitter employees, free blue check marks.
I got it, mate. I just found it. I actually retweeted it, so I should have just looked on my own fucking thing, but I've got it. Right, let me copy that. Let me go backwards. If you want to bring it up just for the lols, I'll send it to you in direct. It's going to be there.
Tweet me.
There we go, mate. It's there.
Tweet me while she tweet me.
I think this is the thread you want to be looking for.
Let me bring it up. Yeah, man, I can't believe that Oprah Winfrey shit.
Yeah, that's it. This is the one. iCloud admin access rocks. I don't know what it means really, but
let me see. Oh yeah. iCloud admin access rocks. It says how do the Russians know that the UK blew up the Nord Stream pipeline in partnership with the US? That's it. Okay, let me share my shit.
Okay, do you want to do that share thing again?
Yes.
Oh, well, yeah.
There is a lot of shite. Okay, hold on.
Still got 50 people here.
Okay, go ahead. Click.
Okay. Oh,
click it.
Add to stream.
Oh shit, hold on. Bloody thing. Okay, it says here. How do the Russians know that the UK blew up the Nord Stream pipeline in partnership with the US? Because at Liz Truss Liz used her iPhone to send a message to Secretary Blinken saying a minute after the pipeline blew up and before anybody else knew, iCloud admin access rocks. Fucking iPhone iCloud message. Oh, you gotta be fucking kidding me. You have got to be fucking kidding me. There you go then.
Yeah,
there you go.
Is there a thread to that?
How do you mean? Is there like other people replying?
Oh no, he might reply. Just like consider the message.
No, I mean all I've got is other things underneath it. It wasn't the phone that was hacked. Context. Oh, because the BBC is saying former UK PM Liz Truss phone hack claim prompts call from investigation. Oh, okay. I guess now.
Yeah, now I remember the phone getting hacked a while back.
Conveniently.
See, that was it's come back, but that was actually known.
Yeah. It says it's not just the Five Eye that have backdoor admin access to all databases. Russia and China have sophisticated cyber units too. The funny thing is, government officials with top security clearance still prefer using iPhones over their NSA and GCHQ issued encrypted shit phones. The idiots still use their fucking iPhone. If Russia had destroyed the pipeline, this would have been considered an attack against NATO member Germany, and they would have had to respond militarily. NATO is because they are to blame. You're
not
right.
even mentioned. It's not even mentioned, is it?
Of course, that's exactly why. Look at this. They've got like an ancient tapestry. Ye knew your Nord Stream, ye old Nord Stream gas. Some of these fucking responses. It was the Anglo-Saxons.
It's like even I said it's an act of war, but it's like actually NATO would have been like screaming at the bit, really, but they didn't say fuck off.
Of course, nothing happened. They blew up a major fucking gas pipe that is part of the infrastructure of fucking Europe, not just Germany, but Germany heavily dependent on it, and nothing, not a fucking nothing. Kidding me?
It's like they use the Brits as the patsies, isn't it? We've done their dirty work this time.
Truck bomb. Okay, this is something else. I think this is some other thing going on. I don't know. Ah, man, it's bullshit, man. They just piss on your head every day and tell you it's raining, and we just swallow that shit up and never fucking ask why. We never question. The thing is, what's frustrating me these days, and this was something I think I said in a video, the last YouTube stream or something I did. Like, I've known about fractional reserve lending, I've known about the banking fuckeries and all the different families and all the different shit that has gone on over the years. I knew about fractional reserve lending like in the 90s. I mean, I saw it on a VHS tape. That there's a documentary called The Money Masters. And so none of these things are new to me. And yet I'm completely hopeless or useless at doing anything about it. I can't do anything. Like, I've got this information, but what do I do with it? How do I utilize it? What do I change with it? You can tell a million people, but nobody seems to ever, do anything about these things. We're all helpless, and we're all like just plodding along. We know the system is fucked. We know they fuck you in the asses. We know that they're corrupt. But we just carry on. We just take it in the ass and just carry on with our day, year after year. We don't do anything. We don't change. Nothing ever changes. And that pisses me off more than anything. That it seems like futile. It's like this monster is so big.
I was going to go to November the 5th in London.
Oh, yeah.
And I thought, well, I want to go. I haven't been filming much this year. Not much been happening. And as you know, my content on my channel is basically if I'm at a protest or something happens in front of me, wherever I am otherwise. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not, and it was going to cost me 45 quid, the cheapest one was, to get to London and back on a coach. Now, some of the one-ways were 50 quid. Some of the one-way times were 50 quid.
Son of a bitch.
I managed to go Flixbucks and maybe National Express on the way home, hopefully 25 quid. It was 21 quid or 22
either
quid
way,
one way. Either way,
you're spending like about 50 quid. Or so,
yeah, I was going to spend 50 quid without nothing. And anyway, it would have cost me maybe 70, 80 for the night, maybe 60 if I really pushed it. But it's still then fucking 8 hours, 8.5 hours on the coach in a day. And I watched the live streams out there. There was fuck all going on. And I thought to myself, Well, I'm glad I didn't go now. That was like the thing at the end.
It was
I didn't want
useless.
to. I didn't want to be glad that I missed it because I wanted it to be something. The lefties didn't turn out. No one turned out.
No
Well,
one turned out.
no one, not in any
No, I
real
mean
force. And I thought,
barely
what a
anyone.
yeah. And I thought, what a fucking waste of country we. I mean, I'm surely
You see what I
even the
mean?
leftists would have turned out. It's their sort of
Dude,
traditional. We're fucked.
I live in London. I didn't even have to go. I didn't even have to spend as much money as you. It would have cost me like £5 to get into central London with the train. But I started watching some of the other streamers that were there. Correct, not political, and Citizen Z, and a few others. Another alternative, he was out there. I watched a few of those. It looked like fuck all, and I thought, why should I put myself through all that crap? Go out in the rain, the cold, all that, suffer for several hours to record nothing, to literally do, it's like, at least you have like, 10,000 subscribers. You're pretty decent numbers, and so you'll at least get some decent viewership. I don't even get the viewership. I might get like 50 people watching, and I'll go out there, freeze my ass off, spend my money, and achieve nothing. Because it'll neither be any good for my YouTube channel, because it'll be fuck all, and it will be, and the march itself will be nothing to report on anyway, because no one fucking showed up. So yes, you're right. It's fucking useless. Absolutely fucking useless. And I see these protests come and go, and I've had for the last, since at least 2018. So it's a good 4 or 5 years I've been out and about in the streets, looking at these protests, the freedom. I will give you this. I will give you this. If it wasn't for the people who were protesting during the lockdowns, during 2020, 2021.
This is going to be this is a Mark Kelly statement. This is a Mark Kelly statement. This is, trust me. This is what Mark Kelly says. I know what you're going to say. Go on.
What? Okay. Let me say it, and then we'll see.
Do you mean to say? Do you mean to say? Well,
go on. You say it. You say it, and then we'll see.
Okay. I think what you're going to say, if it wasn't for the protests in the lockdown movement during 2021, especially, we would most probably be in some sort of still in a lockdown now, or we definitely would have been for the Christmas.
It would have been a lot worse. Yes, I think so. I think it would have. They would have extended either the lockdowns, or they would have extended the crackdowns, or they would have been much more sort of harsher on mandates for vaccines. And I think that those protests kept the government in some level of check. They allowed them to, the British people, they recognize the British people are not walkovers. They can't just take the piss. Whilst the Australians and the New Zealanders had the severe piss. I mean, they didn't protest for the longest time, and the Australians and the New Zealanders were really passive for a very long time, until it got so fucking ridiculous. They pushed them so much that eventually they started coming out. And then you notice that the government started to backtrack a little bit and pull back. But until the protests, the government was just literally putting fucking people in camps. In Australia, they had fucking camps. They were kidnapping people and sticking them in fucking camps.
So there's a chap in Australia, right? He's called Marty Fokker, F-O, yeah? Yeah, and he got arrested 17 times for Kung Flu, and
there you go.
I would suggest he's a bit like you, not in looking, but just the way you are.
Okay.
He's very non-violent. He talks too much, and he'll interact with the police. He'll interact with the police, and he won't run. He won't run from the police. And he's not afraid to talk to the police. But literally, I've witnessed about 5 arrests with him where it's just police stop him. He's got a 360 camera, and he does stand out because he's got a 360 camera, and they just do him every time. They do him for the mask because he's exempt, and then from that point on, they just end up arresting. I've texted him and YouTubed him 17, and out of that 17, there are two charges outstanding. All the rest have been quashed.
But that's what I mean, and that's because there wasn't. If it was a big enough protest around him, I bet you most of the time he was probably on his own, or it wasn't like there wasn't that many other people.
Yeah, but you know when the police went in to like move everyone and everyone scatters, he just like sort of jogs off. He doesn't make a real effort.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, and they just like just gobbling him up like
Yeah.
he just wouldn't run like everyone else. Just like
Yeah. But I mean, I almost got arrested at Speaker's Corner in 2020. This was like towards the end of 2020. I think it was it
I
was
got
either
arrested that
end
day,
of
mate.
2020 or January. You did.
That
I
was
saw
Tom.
you. Yeah, that was a Tommy protest. But no, for me, it wasn't. It was the COVID period, and the police kind of went for his handcuffs, but I was all very, very passive and chilled, and I was like, look, what's going on? I'm just going because I made that. You see, the thing is, the reason the guy was pissed at me was when I first went in the morning. I went to Speaker's Corner, and I went to that area. Now, obviously, it was COVID time, so there was no one there, and as I was putting my camera together on the tripod and everything, the cop van came around and says, well, he actually came up to me. I said, excuse me, do you know that there's no Speaker's Corner today and all that? So, what are you doing? I said, oh, I'm just going to record some nature. I'm going to record some of the birds and the trees and all that.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, okay. But as long as you know there's no Speaker's Corner today. I said, yeah, that's fine. So I put my camera shit together, and then I walked out and realized, okay, I got to go see if there's anyone at Marble Arch. And I went to Marble Arch, and all the guys were there. Pavlov, and Atheist Steve. Yeah, everybody was there. So I started chatting to them. Then we decided, we literally didn't want to go to Speaker's Corner. We decided to go to Speaker's Corner, the coffee shop, to get some coffee. And as we were walking, and I was walking with Pavlov and a few other guys, the police van just like literally sped up, just like screeched to a halt in front of me. And the other guys just legged it. They just ran. I didn't run. I was like, I'm going to get coffee. I'm not doing anything illegal. Technically, this is legal just to go get coffee. It's not illegal not to get coffee. But the guy jumped out. He's like, you said to me you're not here for Speaker's Corner. I said, I'm not at Speaker's Corner. He's like, yeah, but you're with them lot, and they're all from Speaker's. I'm just gonna go get coffee. And as I say, he had his hand on his waist to get the handcuffs, and I was like, can I go get a coffee? No, you can't get coffee.
So you can block the M4, you can glue yourself to roads, you can do any old shit, right? But if you
can't go get coffee.
if you dare disobey the police and be out in public, then zero tolerance.
Piss take. The thing is, though, he was more pissed that he goes, you told me you were here to record the animals.
Yeah, that's because he went back to the van, and there's a mob full of police in that van, and he said, "Oh, he just told me he was taking photo of
animals. He was a nature photographer."
It would surprise you. He goes, "No, that cunt's a regular. I think his name's Lineker or something." He's a regular. He is, your mug. That's what he did. So he was going, no. He was nature, and then like 20 minutes later.
I'm rocking up with all the Speaker's Corner lot. Yeah, he was nothing more pissed the fact that I could twat than anything else. I mean, the ego on these fucking police is unbelievable. They have a fucking giant chip on their shoulders, most of them.
So I was going through some old video clips, and it showed my arrest on November the 1st, 2020, and
oh fucking hell!
What was hilarious about that? It was I managed to pick up some footage from someone else. I think it was from YouTube, but I got it, and it actually shows everything. When you put mine together with their footage, it shows how they actually targeted me.
Really?
Yeah.
So they actually were looking for, like, they're tracking you.
Well, they didn't know who I was because officially I was breaking kung fu rules because I left my country of Wales. So I knew that, so that's why I wasn't live streaming. That's so I went in full disguise mode. It was about the only time I wore a mask. I was bored, and I was determined to like maybe just do just a good recording. So I recorded the whole event, but when he left, as he was going to go down the pathway, a WPC kept on grabbing me by my rucksack and pulling me back, and I got a bit argumentative with her because she's basically assaulting me, and I'm going this way. I'm leaving. Why is she preventing me from leaving? And I said, "Oh fuck it, I'll go this way because they weren't having it." As soon as I said that, in my thing, I heard the copper say, "I want him." And what was hilarious about it all is when you look at the other person's footage, I knew it was that copper, and when you look at the other person's footage, he actually points me out because I backed away from the pathway, that left-hand pathway, and I went back to Speaker's Corner proper. But by the time I'm turned around, he's already mentioning that. And I was going to go to the other way out. So I was actually doing exactly what they were saying to me to do. I was backing away, but they wanted
but
me.
the thing is, this is what I mean. They've got an ego, man. It's an ego trip for a lot of these idiots.
I know the cop. I know the copper as well. I know the copper, and I've spoken to the copper. He's a cunt. I've seen him on. He's one of the coppers who've been all in the lockdown. He's been in all the lockdown protests, and he's been directing the police. He's a 2-star. He is, and when they said they were going to do me for, prevent breach of the peace, which is a nonsense charge. It certainly didn't apply because I was walking away from the problem. And I was, because there was a big scrum there. So I'm walking away from all the people and I'm going into open ground, which would say I'm walking away from any trouble. And they demanded my details. And I said, I'm not obliged to give you my details. And they said, you are. And I said, you need to read your legislation. I'm not. You need to speak to your sergeant or something. So he did. He fucked off to his sergeant. And his sergeant came back. He said, do it for Kung Flu. I was like, oh, God.
Are you kidding me?
Yes. Yeah.
This is what I mean, man. Dude, if a police officer wants to arrest you, they will fucking find a reason to arrest you. They will. They've been given so much unspecific sort of powers, very vague laws that have been, so many vague laws have been written now for the police. They can literally arrest you for just breathing in the wrong direction now.
Yeah.
You don't need any. It's so fucking bullshit now. That's why there was a guy. I mean, there's a video on YouTube. I try and find. The guy was an ex-police officer or ex like FBI kind of level. He's literally says, never talk to the police. Never talk to the police. Never engage with them. If a police officer is talking to you like is your friend, he is not your friend. He is just trying to fish information out of you. You may not have done anything wrong, but you will talk yourself into a crime. You will talk yourself into a guilty situation because there is so many ways a police can find you guilty of something, and they will literally get you to confess to something, even if you've done nothing. That's how it is, man. That's how it is. So, yeah, they're not your friends. They're not your fucking buddies. Don't engage. Don't talk to them if you can possibly avoid it.
Yeah, well, I ended up refusing to give my details. They arrested me, and then they searched me, and they searched me like repeatedly. And then they eventually found my lanyard with my press pass in there. And so then I ended up being cuffed for over 2 hours for a Kung Flu charge. And I went to the Woodville, I don't know, something police station, miles away.
They took you to some, but the thing is, if they found your press pass, that's your ID. So they found an ID on you. So why would they carry on arresting you then?
Well, that's it. And what was hilarious about it was when I actually ended up in the custody area, and he got his belongings forward and all that. And he said he's doing him for not IDing. Then he brought my property forward. My property is my press ID card from the English Press Association. And he's going, I thought you'd what? First thing he said, I told you not to bring any Kung Flu in. He said, we're full. I don't want any more Kung Flu in. I told you. He literally said this to the guy, right? And I've got another Kung Flu. And then he's registered press. And I said, yeah. I said, if you need to ring the number on the back. If you ring the number on the back, they'll confirm who I am. And the custody sergeant said, he looked at the guy and he said, and the PC then rung up the number. The guy answered the phone, confirmed who I was, and I went into a holding room for like 20 minutes, and I was released.
I
Never
mean,
went in
that's
the
all they do.
cells.
They
And
just,
then
they just did
I
it because of an ego trip.
yeah, I
Literally.
I did a plea thing online. I said, yeah, take me to court, and then they said no further action.
Yeah. The thing is, there is actually an entire, I forgot what it was, what they call it, but they say the process is the punishment. It's not that
Yes.
they're punishing you, like
Yeah.
the punishment isn't because
Yeah.
for the crime that you did. The process that they take you, and
Yeah.
all the shit that they take you through, and then they go no further charges, but yet they've wasted hours.
Okay.
Sometimes they keep people for days.
Okay, so
A day or two.
I'll give you another prime example. So 2 months later, in January, I'm walking my dog locally, and the police stop me while I'm driving my vehicle, and they inform me that I'm breaking some sort of law for driving, and I end up having a 30-minute conversation with them, turned into a big YouTube clip, like 100,000 views in like 2 weeks.
You got
And
500,000 views on that clip.
No, 100,000 on that
Oh,
clip.
nice.
And what happened was I had 2 PCSOs stopping people in cars, which is on a public road, which is also quite unusual. They said I didn't have the right to remain silent, which is obviously very much a right. And I refused to answer any and all questions. I was just asking questions. And yeah, it was quite funny. There was like 7 WPCs surrounding me at one point. They brought backup. I said, you need to bring sworn officers down here. I said, you're crazy. And eventually, they asked for my details, and I said, you demanded my details. And they were like, no. I said, I'm not going to give you my details then. And eventually, then they used their brain and then just took the number plate off my car. And then
they took the number plate. Oh, as in they recorded the number plate. Yeah.
Yeah, I parked my car up, but eventually they said, so he won't give us these details. And one of them said, well, what about his car? And they went, oh, yeah, right. And they went walking down the car park to find my car. And what happened then was that they, for the next 10 days, I had the police knock on my door 4 separate occasions during the height of Kung Flu, supposedly, don't forget. And they were, after the 4th visit, they posted a letter, hand delivered, saying to me that they would do me for unnecessary travel, which is hilarious because up to 4 officers turned up at my house on 4 separate occasions, right?
Well, every time they showed up, what did they say to you?
I didn't answer the door.
Oh, I see. They just kept knocking, but you wouldn't answer.
Yeah, so they come back like 2 days later. I couldn't really film it because you end up like doxing yourself and stuff. So
yeah.
It's a case of I just, I know they haven't got a warrant, and fuck them. And you want to play that game with me? We'll play that game. So it was, it can be seen as harassment as well. And they were knocking at my neighbours' doors. But what's hilarious is that what they did at the end of the 4 visits, they had delivered something to me saying, "Oh, we're going to do you for unnecessary travel." They turned up at my house on 4 separate occasions. A couple of people at a time.
Just to say that.
Yeah, when they could have posted it.
Fuck,
they could have just said first class stamp. Funny that, eh?
Well, no, I think it's part of the intimidation process. They send someone there, so
that's right.
We're gonna doorstep you.
And then in October, I went to court, and I've done the recording. It's on my channel. And in October, I went to court. I went there. I took advice. I was representing myself, and I looked where I was in court, and they said, "Oh, you're not in court." And I said, "What do you mean I'm not in court? I'm in court today. I've got this is the paperwork here." They said, "Oh, go to the CPS window." Oh, they discontinued the
dropped.
case 9
Yeah.
days ago. I was like,
You see?
"What?" And I said, 9 days ago. And they're like,
They never
"Yeah."
even
And
told
I
you.
said, "Didn't even tell me."
That's
So
what I mean,
literally,
man. The process, dude. The process is
so,
the fucking punishment.
so I just doxed their names. I did in my report. I just mentioned all the officers' names, made
Yeah.
sure that, and that's all I can do, isn't it?
That's what I mean, man. The process is the punishment, and they know there's
Yeah.
nothing you can do about it. There's nothing you need. They wasted your whole day. I mean, imagine if you had a full-time job. Someone like me, if I even have to go to court with these things, I'd have to book a day off, waste one of my days, work days, arrange all sorts of different shit before I can actually take that day off, and then go to that for them to fuck with me like that. Most people, you see, this is the thing. Most normies who have a regular 9 to 5 job, they can't afford this shit on a regular basis. This is how the system locks you down. This is what I mean. I know his name is a bit poison. I don't want to say it, but Andrew ends with his last name begins with a T. Some people call him the top G. Now he talks about this sort of thing. He keeps talking about the Matrix. This is the Matrix. This is how the system enslaves you by tying you down to jobs, to houses, to debt, mortgages, this, that. That's how they get you, because then they can fuck with you on so many levels, and you don't pay a 25. I mean, this is what he always says. He says, you don't pay a parking ticket. They'll stick a parking ticket on your car. You don't pay it, you can lose your house from that parking ticket. If you don't pay it in the right amount, it'll keep going up in price, You'll end up in court. They'll send bailiffs round. Before you know it, from a 60 quid parking ticket, you lose your entire life. That's how they keep you in check. That's how because you have to abide by all these. But with the little shitty punishments and rules, they keep you in line from falling out. Because if you go to some big that you see what does is psychologically neuters you, so that if you ever think about stepping out of line with bigger issues like protests and going and start actually challenging the government and the system and the banking and this and that, actually doing things that would actually cause real problems for them, you won't do that because you've already been neutered. Psychologically, you've already had your balls cut off because you're too afraid to fucking not pay a parking fine. You're in the shit by just the mere parking fine, let alone if you actually get in the shit with bigger things. You really want that? You want to bring that fucking shitstorm home? And of course, as your responsibilities increase, you have a wife, you have kids, all of that, the more the bigger the ball and chain becomes around your ankle. And that's how they keep you from going out into the streets protesting, because you don't want to lose all this. You don't want to have them come and fuck with you for months on end with all this shit.
And I seen a video today. I'm sure it was Dutch police, where they were literally just battering people in the middle of a field, and I don't remember, they were battering this one guy. He must be like 60, and they're battering around his head with a baton. I don't care if it's rubber. I don't care if it's rubber. I don't know if it is rubber. It could be fucking wood. I don't fucking know. But they're hitting a 60-year-old guy across the shoulders and the head. And then all of a sudden there's someone on the floor and the dog's just mauling the guy. And the dog, I remember watching the clip before, and the dog got so bored with mauling the guy. The dog wasn't really interested in mauling the guy anymore. And after all this time, the guy still wanted, the dog handler still wanted the dog to maul the guy. But the dog was bored of it. Do you understand what I mean? The dog really wanted, and I'm thinking, and it says like they want an amnesty now, don't they? All that sort of shit, But it's like this is for you. This is for your safety. This is for your, They've done this for your safety.
That's why the last 2 years dropped so much trust in the police. Now I'm talking people who were pro police, patriotic Tommy boys types, you know what I mean? The proper north They now hate the police, not your average ganja smoking yardie. I'm not talking about your Jamaicans and your Somalis already destroyed. I'm talking about your pro-police, patriotic, flag-wearing British bulldog guys are now now they despise the police because their nan was fucking arrested by some fucking jobs worth fucking police officer in 2011 and 2021 when she was out in the park feeding the fucking pigeons. So people they've now fucked themselves on every level of society, whether it's your Afro-Caribbeans or your Middle Easterners, your Pakistanis and Indians, or your fucking national, white guys.
And if you follow like Metropolitan Police or South Wales Police or Avon and Somerset or whatever, right? And you follow their police Twitter feeds, right? It's dared into such a degree that that's all they're doing is promoting each other. Or so and so enforcement thing got a car not taxed. Oh, great! Oh, PCSO took 2 scooters off the road. These are dangerous and they're not legal in the UK. And you read in their threads, and you look at who tweets them or bigs them up, and it's like the ambulance service or the fire. And you're like, what the fuck is going on? You're just bigging each other up. And of course, it's like it's like the LGBT police South Wales or some other sucking.
They love that fucking
subversion of South Wales police of some, and it's like they'll have South Wales cadets Twitter page, and it's just them backing each other. They're not even tackling serious crime. They're not even mentioning really anything serious as a general rule of thumb. It's 90% or 95% just shit and drivel. And he's thinking, I'm looking at it, and I look at it daily, sort of thing. You're thinking, what the fuck? What the fuck? Are you seriously? All the things you could put down, you put shit like this down.
Sacks of shit, most of them. I swear. I said the trust in the police is just. I think it's non-existent. I've totally lost any kind of trust in the police. I've had my car broken into. Well, they smashed my rear window. Literally, they just gave me a crime number. They barely. I don't even think they investigated it for a day. And then they just after a week, they just send me a thing saying, "I'm sorry, there was no CCTV footage. We can't take any further action."
That's never investigated it, mate. They just went through the motions there.
You know what I mean? Nothing. They did nothing. The problem is, you see, the one element of the police that I actually gave some shit about was the fact that they would keep you safe and secure.
They don't do that.
Available anymore. The one fucking everything else they did is bullshit. Everything else with their petty fucking parking tickets and speeding fines and this and that, that's all bullshit, and we all know that's bullshit. But the one thing that you could at least say that the British police, okay, if some shit happens, they'll keep me safe. My car gets broken into, they'll catch the fucker. They don't even do that anymore. So what the fuck am I paying you taxes for? What do you actually do? You don't keep me safe. You don't keep me fucking secure. I have to deal with all that shit myself now. I have to worry about fucking keeping myself secure. If a woman gets stabbed in the face at Hyde Park in the middle of the day with cameras recording all over, and you still haven't found the fucker, you can't do your basic. They've broken the basic social contract, which is I pay you taxes, you keep me safe. That was our deal.
Can you imagine if that was done the other way as well? Can you imagine if that was done the other way, right? And the uproar, the national media would have been on it. It wouldn't just be the Daily Mail or GB News, or I think it was just GB News, wasn't it?
The GB News was the only place that covered it, pretty much.
Yeah. So, and what's crazy about that is that you see the footage and you see it happening, and within 10 seconds, the police are already there in a police vehicle. They're already there.
No, because they were parked there. They were parked there like 120 feet away.
I know. But how can they lose the perp? That's what I want to know. So at that point, right, the police should press the emergency button on his fucking his thing, which then puts all airways get shut down, and he's live to everyone, isn't he? And he says, I just witnessed the stabbing in Hyde Park. All the CCTVs will be down Marble Arch, popping away. It's like the most CCTV area in the UK, near enough, give or take, maybe fucking Buckingham Palace, right? Or Westminster. Oxford Street, Marble Arch is fucking. And how the fuck has he managed to? You can get on a train, you can get on a tube, you can get on all that shit. But how's he managed to disappear?
Exactly.
And how's he not managed to be on photo anywhere? How have they not released a photo of CCTV? They released no photo of it.
Nothing. No, I mean the photos that we have are from Soko Films. Believe it or not,
Yeah,
Soko Films was the only.
They're from Speaker's Corner. They're not from any CCTV.
No, that's it. The only footage we have is literally the people who were recording at the Speaker's Corner. We don't. No, they didn't release anything, and then they sent. I think it was this year, earlier on, a few months back, they sent Hatun a letter saying that the case has gone cold because they can't. They don't have any way. They don't have any more leads to follow.
It was never lukewarm.
Exactly. God knows if they actually did anything in the first place for it to go cold. But either way,
It's like putting a milky coffee in a microwave, forgetting about it, and thinking you can reheat it in the morning. You fucking can't. That'll taste awful. It's like, the investigation never got anywhere. You literally just opened it, and it was just processed.
Exactly.
Just close it down now.
Yeah, no, man, they're useless. They're fucking useless. And the thing is, London is becoming more and more dangerous. There are so many people having their cars. I literally drove by another car last, was it not this weekend, the weekend before, something like that, a BMW, and it had exactly the same back of the window smashed just like mine.
Yeah.
I was like, fucking hell, there you go, there's another one. And now, so you're seeing those, and by the way, I'm not talking about, these are like some fucking dive areas of London, like Hackney or some shit. I'm talking Kensington High Street, one of the most expensive, lucrative, rich areas of London. That's where my car got fucking smashed, and that's what this other car was as well. It was actually, that one was in like Chelsea or something. So we're talking some of the most expensive like areas where there are like £500,000, £1 million flats on average in that area. So London is no longer a safe place. They've literally, the one job that this piece of shit Sadiq Khan had, which was to keep us at least safe, he's incapable of doing that. So there's nothing in London that is actually worth living in London for anymore. You don't have security. Wait till they start attacking the tourists. I'll bet you any money that the fucking security suddenly changes when the tourists start to get mugged. And I know that they are, but it's just, it hasn't become like an epidemic. But once it becomes so bad that no tourists will come to London anymore, because it becomes an incredibly dangerous place to walk around, then Sadiq Khan might fucking do something about it. But the fucker is more worried about expanding the congestion zone and the Eulers zone than he is about actually making London a safe place to walk.
So another thing that confuses me is Steve's said that it is Westminster Bridge, and they're like, what's it called? That
the 3 cup and ball scammers.
Yeah, the cup and ball scammers, right? Now they've got lookouts. This is what they say. They got lookouts, and you can't really. How can you? What sort of bullshit are we talking here? You can't really catch them. What are you on about? You just get coppers from either side. And you track them down, and then you go back.
Is, I've got videos of them,
so we know what they look like.
Shit.
I know.
Exactly.
So why aren't they either picked up every day or every other day? Just literally, just make their life a misery.
If they arrest a few of them every day, believe me, just the cost of the fact that they have to pay for the court costs or the having to go through the process and all of that. That would be enough to start discouraging them from doing it. But they don't arrest them. They don't do anything about them. They just leave them.
And the majority of the people they're getting are tourists.
Of course. But the thing is, it's going to give London the reputation that people think about when they go to fucking places like Laos and Cambodia and fucking Vietnam, where they get conned out of their money.
And the thing is, it's even better they're on a bridge, because that's all you need to do is have a plainclothes officer with a camera, watch them do the scam, right?
Yeah.
And of course, they have lots of people doing it, which is not hard. There's many ways of doing it. You can use glasses, you can use pinhole badges. There's many different ways that you could covertly film this.
Dude, I had a GoPro strapped to my chest. I wasn't exactly hiding it. I had a fucking GoPro strapped to my chest, and I was just walking up to them, and they were still there. They were just doing their thing, and I recorded a whole bunch of them.
See, even if they held them for 23 hours and then released them, then if you've done that to them twice a week, they're going to get rather pissed off.
Exactly. But the thing is, the police themselves, you got to realize, this is what I mean about them lazy bastards. They have to do a whole bunch of paperwork every time they put someone away. You don't just put someone away willy-nilly. You have to write a whole bunch of shit up. They don't want to do the paperwork. They don't want to do the admin for every time they arrest these cunts. So it's just easier not to bother arresting them. Just let them go. Let it be. It's just the paperwork that they have to do in order to just keep them.
Like I said, I it's just something I see in front of me, and I'm thinking to myself, well, if you wanted to, you could solve that problem in a couple of weeks. You could just target them either every day or every other day or every 3 days. Just ruin their lives.
You just have to put a copper on a shift to walk up and down that bridge. On let's say you give 5 or 6 different.
No, they need to get hit. They need to get hit. They need to get hit so they get the turn proper.
Well, that as well. But I mean, if you just have one copper every hour, just walk up and down for an hour.
But you know what they'll do? They'll work for 55 minutes of the hour, mate. That's what they're like. They go, look, they go and watch your hours, isn't they? So they'll work for 55 minutes of the hour, which is still a good day.
Yeah,
you know
what I mean is though, like you have different coppers shifts changes. So you have 5, let's say 10 different police officers. That's 10 hours, and they each cover an hour on the bridge. So between 10 police, for fuck's sake, literally Scotland Yard is at the end of that bridge. The one where me and Steve were on, Scotland Yard is at the end of the bridge. Their offices is right there.
Oh, I mean, if I was part of Scotland Yard, I'd be like, look, I'm not having this on my doorstep. This is something that our visitors see. This is something that goes on. I'm not having it. It's just not happening.
The thing is, they don't give a shit unless it becomes a media frenzy. If there's if you suddenly get a massive media attention on it.
But they're not beating them up, see, that's why. They're not beating them up. They're just robbing them a different way.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. But if it becomes a scandal, and suddenly all the media is reporting on it, then they'll do something about it. But as long as it's like me or Steve on a YouTube channel that has like 1,000 people, nobody gives a shit. Nobody gives a shit. Unless it becomes a big thing, like London has become Scam Central. I don't know, you get some Panorama bullshit program about it. London and the Scam Central of Europe. Then you might get the police to do something about it. These guys, literally, people like Sadiq Khan don't give a shit about anything unless it damages their PR. If you can get somehow to show that this is Sadiq Khan's PR, fault, and that this is going to create some sort of bad PR for Sadiq Khan, he won't do fuck all about it.
What's that game called again?
Which one?
The cup and ball game, is it called?
Yeah, cup and ball game. Yeah, you got 3 cups, a ball.
So okay, so Sadiq Khan is new diversity. You know, you like to change the names and stuff.
You change the name. Equity.
Yeah, you change the name of the Westminster Bridge to Cup and Ball Bridge for the sake of diversity.
Yeah, or Scam City. Because
Scam
scammers,
Bridge.
That's what they're doing. Scam Bridge. Because, yeah, I mean, that's what they're doing. They're scamming day long. And they make some serious money. They make some serious cash. We spoke to people. The guy told us, I lost £200 yesterday. Another guy, £100, £300, one guy lost. People are losing serious money. They're not losing like 5-10 quid.
It's not the actual scam in front. See, it's the people that are doing their certain jobs, isn't it? You got the lookout person, but you got the person sort of going, "Oh yeah, man, it's crazy, yeah, you're out there, and encouraging you." They're part of the scam. It's not just the
they
scammer.
don't talk to you.
There's
Yeah, because they can't. Yeah, they have at least, I counted, I think at least 30 people on that bridge. The guy who's doing the cup and ball, there's like 6, 7 of them, and then around them there's at least 2 or 3, usually either a couple of women and a man, or 2, 3 women, and the women and the men that are with them play. They're playing. They give them like,
that's right.
they're actually
They
doing
play
a play,
they lose,
and they
don't
win. No, they
Right,
win
sorry.
every time.
Sorry,
Every time they,
yes.
yeah. Every time they play, they win. But then that's how they get the punter, if you like, the mark to come in. So once a tourist comes in, because they see these women like playing and they keep winning, they're like winning 20 quid, 60 quid, 80 quid. They're like, holy shit. So then someone goes in and puts a 20 down, and boom, all of a sudden you lose. Oh, it's amazing how when the tourist plays, they seem to lose every time. But when one of these other women that look highly Eastern European, when they play, oh no, they're winning all the time.
With a long floral dress. Weird.
They're all dressed. They look like, Londoners. They're just jeans and jackets and stuff. Then you can see it. It's on Steve's video. It's on Steve's channel. I actually recorded. I think I put it on my channel as well. I can't remember. But
the giveaway though, the giveaway is black men's trainers that are patented. They're like shiny black, and you're like, that's not a Europe. It's not a Western European look. That's a Eastern European look. That one.
The wingtips. But yeah, I mean, I say that you can spot after a while. I mean, I only went there once with Steve, but after an hour or so, you can easily spot the guys who are part of this gang, the spotters, the players, the cup and ball guys. And as we became a bit more, because they know Steve's been harassing them for fucking weeks before I went, and so as I was approaching them, they completely ignored me when I was there and I was walking up and down. But when Steve was walking with me, bam, they would pack up the minute we come over. So as soon as they clock Steve, then they'll stop. But if it was me, because at one point some lady had lost her kid, and so I went down the bridge to see if I could find the kid. I didn't see anyone, but the never even fucking paid attention to me for 1 second. As I was walking up and down to try and see if I could spot the kid, they just carried on playing. They didn't even stop. And I still had the GoPro strapped to my chest, but they didn't give a shit. But as soon as I came up with Steve, they would pack up, because they know Steve is the guy who's been harassing them, for a while. He's been telling them.
Harassing them.
So we fucked up their business that day for a few hours, but generally, it was like cockroaches. The minute you turn on the lights, they will scatter, but then once you turn off the lights again, they'll come back. They'll come back.
Yeah.
It's impossible to stop them. The only way, like you said, is for the police to either have a regular patrol or actually start arresting them.
Why do they always use a mat as well? The mat is like is the mat part of the trick? I don't know how they play the trick.
No, it just gives the cup and ball a little bit of grip, so they can move it around. It gives a little grip surface. It's like a poker table. You know how they've slightly. Like
I can't remember who I watched. I think it was the chubby guy, the chubby Brexit guy. He turned around and got the mat. He said, "Look, I just found the mat," and he just threw it over the fucking bridge.
Over the bridge. Yes. Yeah, he just grabbed it and just chucked it over the bridge. I was like, oh fuck, we're gonna fucking start a fight now. And they kind of squared up to him, but everybody was chilled, and so they just left it. But yeah, he just like, oh look at this mat, and he just chucked it.
A bit of waste. A bit of waste.
Oh fucking hell. I thought, because the thing is, I mean, I don't know for sure, but I would say these people are part of a bigger mafia group, and if like we give them some serious shit, like actually seriously jeopardize their business, I think we could be in danger. They could stab us. All sorts of shit could have happened, because as I said, off the top of my head, I counted at least 30 people that were part of this gang, between the spotters and the cup and ball guys and the players.
What would be good? What would be good if you were a worker that walked past there every day, that bought a newspaper every day, And every day you've got a 30-second clip of me walking past. You put the date of the fucking newspaper in front, and then you show one of the cup and ball games. And you've got to like it's like you do social media posts on it every day. And like you shame them in the end. You've got to shame the Met, haven't you, to take action.
Yeah, pretty much. As I said, you have to. If our little footage, or if someone did this continuously for a long time and then managed to get the attention of a major news outlet.
Yeah, this is daily. And even if they knew they were being recorded by someone on social media, they're not going to stop because they're not actually stopping them from earning money.
Exactly, exactly. So if you record it on a daily basis, you can walk up and down that bridge and record it all day long. I mean, there are tourists all day long. Like they do say when you're recording them, they're like, "Oh no camera, no camera." I'm like, "Fuck off! You can't tell me to stop recording."
And they don't really care. They just carry on, don't they?
Well, no. If they're telling you no recording and then you don't, and they know that you're recording, they'll stop for that period. They'll go and they'll pack up the whole thing. But if you can walk up and down that bridge all day long and record away, and they won't even notice you because they're too busy doing their game. So you could do it, but what I mean is, you're right. If you make like a documentary or something that catches the major newspaper or major news outlets' attention, and then this blows up to a major news issue, then you'll see very quickly the Met act on it. Because, as I said, there's nothing worse for Sadiq Khan than his PR being damaged. He doesn't give a shit about Londoners. He only gives a shit about his PR. If it looks good, if it looks bad for him, he will do something about it. If it doesn't look bad for him, he doesn't give a shit. And that's the main thing. If you can make Sadiq Khan look bad because of this, or blow it up so that they have to pay attention, then you'll see the police will have them pack up real quick. But it'll only be for a few months. It'll be like maybe 3, 4 months, 6 months period, and then they'll these people will come back again.
You have to do the process again, maybe. But
they'll move to another bridge. They'll just go from Westminster Bridge to Vauxhall Bridge to Tower Bridge. So they'll just move to another bridge.
I agree. But if you pick the fuckers up, like I said, and even if you release them without charge, some of them, 23.5 hours is pretty alright, isn't it?
Well, yeah. I mean, again, if you harass them severely to an extent where it makes it impossible for them to work, then fine. But as I say, it'll take a fair bit of effort, and certainly more than me and Steve walking up and down recording these idiots. And again, there is a dangerous element to this as well, especially with me and Steve, us civilians, because these people could, stab you up if you become a serious enough of a problem for them. If you're just some, guy who's a bit of an annoyance, they don't care. But if you're actually gonna, make moves towards stopping them, I think these people will, can be quite dangerous, because I'm sure they're part of a much, much bigger mafia or underground criminal group. They're not just, because, as I said, this is a highly organized group. They are not just fucking around. These are not just random Romanians, just, scamming people, just a few quid here and there. These guys are making serious bank. From what I heard, and the kind of tourists that were saying they lost the kind of money that they have, if these guys are scamming at least one person for about 200 quid a day, that is some serious money, because there was at least 7 or 8 of these cup and ball guys doing it. And if they were each getting at least, that's a minimum of £200-300 a day from tourists, that is some serious money. This is a business.
Yeah, that's minimum, mate. That's minimum. So you get 2 off one customer. You might get a couple of them a day.
Exactly.
But like you said, you might get the thing is, you might get a nice rush. You might get one person who's a major gambler and just go and lose 500 quid.
Exactly. I mean, you just don't know. But what I mean is, you can assess. I can easily tell you that they are making serious money. These are not fucking around. This is not chump change. These guys are making bank, and this is all tax-free shit.
I felt threatened for you when you were on the bridge. It was quite confusing. There was a lot of people walking around. There was a lot of different faces. There was a lot of static faces. Between you and Steve was pretty based all the way through, mind you. He was putting them out. He was saying, "You're a lookout. You're a cunt too." You know.
Oh yeah. He was calling them out. Yeah, and he had the megaphone as well. He had a little megaphone. He was calling them out on the megaphone, telling people that these guys are scammers. Don't be scammed by them. By the way, they don't just run the scamming either. The cup and ball scamming. They run there are little clowns with animal balloons and shit that they make. There's another guy who's selling like roasted peanuts and hot dogs and shit. They run all of those people. They are all part of this group. They are not just, as I say, this is what I'm saying. You don't know how many people you're dealing with. I wager you're dealing with a good 40, 50 people, perhaps, on that bridge that are part of this group. So you start fucking fighting with one of them, you could have 40 other guys on your back kicking the shit out of you.
There's a Twitter clip going around where it shows it's the photo. It just shows like raw meat being sold on the pavement, and then like cooked meat just there as well. And then there's a guy there doing the old peanuts, like you said. And then the camera scans up, and it's the Eiffel Tower, and you're like, that's interesting, isn't it? And then it goes down, and it shows like the canals. And it shows like all the tents down the canals because they stopped the Paris Marathon, didn't they, a couple of years ago because they couldn't guarantee the people's safety through the canal.
Bloody hell.
Yeah, and it's like what the fuck's Paris turning into? Fucking hell.
Oh yeah, as well. I mean, to be honest, most of Europe is getting really bad with a lot of these migrants just settling in all over the place. And unfortunately, Europe is not going to be able to sustain them. These countries are not going to be able to cope with all these migrants flooding in. I don't know what the solution is, man. The only thing I could think of solution-wise is, help those nations that these people are fleeing to be a bit better, to be more prosperous, so they'll have an opportunity and they'll either go back or they won't want to come. Or make Europe so incredibly unattractive as far as welfare and support system is concerned that none of them want to come.
Well, I was speaking on another stream earlier on, and we were mentioning this, Sweden, and what Sweden have said now recently, and she's the Swedish Prime Minister. They're a leftist party, and she openly says now that migration has failed in Sweden.
Oh, yeah, multiculturalism and all this sort of. Of course it has. Everybody saw this coming a mile away, except they called everyone racist for pointing it out.
Well, remember 5 years ago when I was hearing reports of grenade attacks where you got the Sunnis and the Shias and the Kurds and all that. They seem to be rolling grenades into their own, the money laundering shops, the old barbers and all the smoke shisha house. And they're literally just rolling grenades in. And because it wasn't really affecting the Swedish shops directly, because there was obviously another, Muslim shop, whether it was Sunni, Shia, or Kurdish, whatever. It didn't really affect it all. But I was reading it, but all the left was screaming, Sweden's an example. This is an example of this is great.
Yeah, the paradise that we should all copy. To this day, the Americans, the fucking communist leftists, point to Sweden and Switzerland as pinnacles of socialism. And even though the Swedish, I think it was the Swedish or Danish, came out, one of the ministers, and we are not a socialist nation. Who told you we're socialists? We have social programs, but we're a capitalist society. It's like they keep pointing out, look, the Scandinavian nations, their socialism works. They're not socialists, you assholes.
Yeah, name me a country where socialism works.
Exactly.
Sweden, Finland, Norway. No.
Exactly.
Try again.
They totally confuse social programs with socialism. This was literally on Twitter the other day as well. I saw something about when I was following one of Elon Musk's threads, and some guy said something about socialism. Everybody's if you don't what was it? Oh yeah, he posted all socialists program about the national parks, the police service, the fire service, the teachers, the military, and someone wrote, "Idiot, services. That's not socialism." You don't seem to know the difference between socialism and social services. It's like even to this day they still think having like libraries and the police service and fire brigade, that's socialism. They still don't know the difference between social services and socialism. But this is the problem, man. These guys are, most of them are idiots. I mean, you're a fan of the Lotus Eaters, so you would have seen it. But the Lotus Eaters, they did this thing on their website where they reviewed fascism, actual fascism, and the guy who wrote this book on fascism. Literally, the things that the left, the people that the left point to as fascist, Trump, all these things, nothing of the sort. It's not even close to being fascism. They literally don't know what fucking fascism is.
Everything is fascism. Having pride, culture is fascism. It's like, what are you on about?
Just liking the place you were born is fascism.
Yeah. Want to preserve where you grew up, fascism. What are you on about?
Everything.
And this comes from a very small. This comes from a person from a demographic from a very small percentage of the world population.
Exactly.
But they seem.
Yeah, man, dude, I gotta go. It's 5 a.m. I'm literally gonna get 2 hours of sleep. Ladies, have a good one. Ciao.
And you, mate.
Take care.
Cheers, Max. Bye, mate. Thanks everyone in the chat for staying along. It's been a long stream, really, for considering we haven't done a lot. But thanks for tuning in, everyone. Reaver, Bright, thank you, Bright. See you there. Connie's still here. Well played, Connie. I'm always seeing through my. So yeah, I'm gonna get out of here now. Thanks everyone for joining. English Bulldog. Oh, you got grifted, or Errol, or whatever, Errol. So take care, Carmen Smith, Albert, Pike. Yeah, take care, everyone. Nice one. Thanks for joining in. Ta-ra now, everyone.